Hey everybody, happy Friday. Oh man, there's been a lot going on. So let's see, Adam is going to finish coding all of the skills for the last 5 adventures. I think we got done with the rogue. I actually don't remember anymore. Let's look at the commits. Yeah, add in rogue skills. Okay, cool. Yeah. Hey Kevin, hey Maniac Mind. Yeah. Then if there's time after, then there's probably more skill tree work that can be done. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that for now. Just here to say hello and have a good stream and good day. You too. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but maybe you can. Anyway, hope you have a good day too. All right, I've got some updates. For one, all of this stuff belongs lower on the list. Yeah, so 2 updates. One, Kevin has joined the team. That Kevin right there. He'll be working as a developer, and I think that's it for team editions for now. Kevin had already been helping out in chat, and I just was thinking about it for like a week, and I'm like, you know, it would be good having Kevin on the team. Yo, thanks for resubbing. Why did that not make a sound? Oh, strange. Anyway, welcome back. That is what, 4 2/3 years? Yeah, quite a lot. Ham too. Yeah, and I think for me, the motivation behind getting another person at this point is twofold. One, we are still at the point where onboarding someone can be helpful. So, for example, let's say we were launching in 2 days. I don't think you can onboard someone and have them be helpful in 2 days, unless they're doing something like string translations or something. And two, I think this is going to increase the quality of the game, and we don't need to change the scope of the game. So, if I had another 10 people working on Skeleseller, I don't think I'd make it some like sprawling multiplayer game or something like that. I would just hopefully kind of get done sooner. Actually, I don't think I'd be able to manage 10 developers because I don't think the game is that broad that it could support having 10 people work on it. Tastes like nothing because I'm sick. Oh man. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was doing great, and then my wife came home and I'm like, I wonder if I'm starting to get sick. I wonder if she brought all these, illnesses with her. I don't think it happened, but I did feel a little sluggish yesterday. I didn't do as much as I normally do. Anyway, that was the one update that I want to share. The other update is sound work. So do we have this already? No, I switched back to the main branch. Let me just do a get status to make sure this is up to date. Yeah. All right. Which one is it? 327 probably. So Dark was testing out what happens if we add sounds to the game. And I want to show everyone this because I want to get opinions on this. Things to keep in mind. So context here. These are not the final sounds. This is just for testing how this all feels. And oh yeah, sounds aren't there for everything yet. Just most of the adventure skills, I think. And not some of the UI things and everything else. So anyway, let's listen to this. And I will need to turn the master volume up, the music volume down, I guess. Okay, I'm just gonna turn the music down for now, but we should listen to it with the music as well. What was the other thing I want to say? Oh yeah, no matter what. So keep this in mind. No matter what, we have a volume slider for master volume, for music volume. We're going to have one for battle sounds, and then probably one for UI sounds as well, or maybe town sounds or something. Anyway, we'll have a way to turn these off. So if you do find them annoying and you're like, well, I find them annoying, but other people might not, don't worry about it. You'd have a setting to turn that off. So here is one sound, for example. Dragging an item onto the enchanter. But anyway, battle sounds. And so this in particular, I'm assuming you can hear this. This one in particular, I think I realized why it doesn't seem to work. And it's because the rogue is basically a metronome. The rogue attacks every 0.4 seconds, and you can get this down to 0.2 seconds if you put skill points into it. And hearing something on the dot every 0.4 seconds is too repetitive, I think. So that's one of the things I was thinking about when it comes to sounds. But I'll play more. Don't worry. Let's see what I want to write down. Oh yeah, the rogue is like a metronome. I think we need to either lower the volume on those sounds or vary them even more. Maybe have 2 to 3 sound effects for quick strike, or maybe even more than that. But anyway, okay, so now let's take a look at some of the other characters. If I unlock them all and put the archer in a battle, the archer I think has really good sounds right now because they're like made for arrows. So let's see what that's like. I don't know what that was. You know what I also just realized? We don't have sounds for misses. Probably need sounds for missing, e.g. missing an arrow. Missing, well, wild shot. So that was the archer. I think the sound was the character entering the portal. Let's see. No, I don't know what that was then. Anyway, now let's play one with several characters. Let's put the mage and the warrior into battle. I love the lightning bolt sounds. I think they're great. So you might have noticed that the enemies are not making sounds. And it's the same reason why the rogue doesn't make sound, or while the rogue should probably be changed. The enemies, if you've got 3 battles going and they're all maxed out, you've got 27 enemies all pretty much using the exact same attack. So we just don't have them make sounds. But yeah, I wonder if it should just be every so often. The pitch is already modified, but the pitch is only modified slightly and could be modified more. But I don't know at what point it would start sounding a little different. So it's 15% in either direction, 85% to 115%. And we could randomize it more. I could set this to 55% and 145%. I think that'll start sounding silly, but let's try it out. Let's just try the rogue. You know, actually, it's only the lower pitch that makes it sound weird. But yeah, I think varying it, you have 2 to 3 sound effects for quick strike, maybe more pitch variation, maybe speed variation without changing pitch, which I don't know if that's a thing that's built into Godot. Hey, APX. Anyway, okay, so now let's do one last thing here, or a couple of last things. So now if you have multiple battles going, let's say we have Dungeon 2 and we put in these 3 characters, and then we do Volcano 2 and we put in these 4 characters. So now here is like the most stuff you can have going on. Okay, so that's enough of that. What does everyone think in general? Because I think one of the big questions is still, do we have enemy sounds at all? Would it be strange to throttle the enemy sound calls? E.g. only play a max of like 3 per second. Love it. Sounds are satisfying. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey, Krasner. Yeah, I think it does add a lot to the game to have sounds. And by the way, this is the last thing I didn't show, which is with the music on. Which unfortunately we need to just restart the game for that. It's really cool. I'm probably turning them down or off after an hour. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Although actually one of the things that's kind of interesting about a game like this is that at the beginning of the game you've got less going on, so the sounds are actually more meaningful. But then once you're at the end of the game and you've got like 3 battles running constantly, the sounds are not as meaningful. All right, so this is them with the music on. Let's get the mage, the archer, and the paladin into a battle. And we could have death sounds. Yep. I think those would be satisfying. Sounds a little silly with the upbeat town theme and combat going. I think part of the reason for that is because I'm focusing on the battle at the time. But remember, the rest of the town stuff would be going on in the game. But yeah, I guess having a battle play out. See, this is another issue, which is that there will probably always be a battle playing out. So it's not like we can switch into battle music or something. It's like for all but the first minute of the game, I think you're just always going to have a battle running. Maybe for boss battles, we could have a boss battle theme start playing. But, yeah, in fact, I don't want to keep composing more music, but that is something I should probably write down. Consider boss music for when you start a boss battle for the first time in, whatever, 15 minutes or something. You'll get there, Slay 10. This nice flute going, and then the mage is like lightning. Well, lightning sounds also pretty loud. The last thing that I didn't explicitly show here is the selling sound. Listen to this. Oh, I turned down the volume. Listen to nothing. Okay, let's try that again. Grant items, add workers. You hear that? It's pretty nice. Easy, whoops. Yeah, so something like that I definitely think is good. That one's, yeah, that's satisfying. I don't think it's too bad. I think same thing with enchanting. I think getting sound feedback from UI actions or kind of in-game actions, I think is pretty good. I think it's just the battles I was a little curious about. And it's not like it's bad, it's just, it is kind of a lot. Oh, part of the reason lightning is probably as loud as it is that we're probably not rate limiting it. The mage shoots like 6 lightning bolts at once, so I think that's why it sounds louder. Need to throttle certain sounds, e.g. lightning zaps, can make sounds probably like 5 times per spellcast. Anyway, I'm happy with this. I think this is something we got to move forward with, and then I think we need to, so moving forward, combine these notes with my obsidian notes, find the real sounds that we want. The CC, I guess I'll just say the CC licensed ones, or some of them, are actually fine. Yeah. We just need fitting sounds for everything. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so those were my updates. I gotta file this at some point. Let's, for now, just put this into a different list. Planning on adding slight pitch shifting. You know, everyone's been asking that, which makes me think that, and by the way, it's not, when I say everyone, it's not just the people here. We also shared this in Discord, and I think even Quickie Joe asked that. And it makes me think that the pitch shifting is not obvious enough for people to be asking. So we should probably experiment with this a little bit more. It's already shifting pitches. It's only 15% in either direction, though. Consider making the pitch shifting a little bit more extreme than 15% in either direction. Lots of people were asking about it. So it's probably just not super obvious. Okay, yeah, we are
Whoops.
making good progress. I'm gonna switch back to main, so we won't have sounds again for the rest of the stream. But I want to show some of the things that have been changing lately. So for people who want to catch up, or for people who want to see the work that Dark has been doing too. Adam, some. It sounds like you're choking on something. Hey, Ravi. I do plan on filling out the survey thing you sent, by the way. I just was kind of scrambling this morning. So one of the things that I already showed off, I'm pretty sure, is this. This used to just be an item bin, and now it's a treasure chest. And if you put a quest item there. Okay, so check this out because this is gonna happen pretty quickly. Keep your eyes on the chest. We click accept quest, and it pops open, and then we get this little signboard next to it, and the signboard tells you how many of the items you need to go collect. So like it's a nice little bit of polish, and it just makes the game look that much better. I think having that treasure chest and having a in-world UI. Oh yeah, gotcha, Ramy. Yeah, yeah. I hope to get to it this weekend, maybe. My parents are coming to visit this weekend. I think on Sunday. So once that happens, I don't know where my like evening and weekend work time is going to go, at least for a week. But we got time, right? Yeah, we got like 20 days. Okay. Hey, guest. Yeah, now that Kevin is working on the team, I want to take this like crazy backlog of stuff and put it into GitHub. All right, so we did this to fix this Z order issue. I think Dark has a PR for that. I just didn't look at it yet. Let me see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at these. Have a bona fide grill artist at your place. Only we don't have a grill. Look through PRs. All right, we got to still do that stuff at some point. Need to move loot to a treasure box. Need to fix borders around instances. Oh, yeah. So one of the things that's changed now is the instance windows are smaller. So if we create 3 of these, I guess we can't do that. Let's go unlock more adventures. Create instance, create instance. And let's do that. Okay. Auto battle, auto battle, auto battle. Yeah. So you can see, I know I'm covering half of it, but you can see this isn't taking up the full screen. What we're going to do is we're going to separate the instances a little bit so we can put proper borders between them to make it very obvious that like, hey, this is the battle window. And there's one other problem, which is as a result of shrinking the size of this window, now if you show loot, that the loot bumps everything down, such that if you also have auto battle, you'll see the bar get kind of clipped. And if you have stats showing as well, the stats just don't show anymore. They're sort of off the bottom of the screen. So I think what we're going to do is just not show loot in this screen at all. I can take a picture there. Yeah. So you can't tell, but the stats are actually down here. Stats are down here off screen. And if we just got rid of the loot, then everything would show. And I think what we can do is we can show a little treasure chest icon, and hovering over that would show you the loot. You see the top row of white text. Is that what those pixels are? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And Washington have any parks or the like with public grills? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of grilling because I'm not a huge fan of cleaning grills. If there were a grill washer, as in you could just, put it inside of another machine and it cleaned it, I'd probably do it a little bit more. Hey, Thels. Yeah, not a huge fan of Bear Grylls. Just being out there in the wilderness, need something to drink, not sure what to get. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I think we're gonna hide this. I won't do this now. I don't think it's super important, but I think before checkpoint number 4, we need to do this. We want to know about details. I think it's best to just hide loot entirely for now and disable the option. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell the details of the loot. That's the problem. It has to be a window that you could open by clicking the treasure chest. And then you need some way of managing that dialogue, so you need to be able to close it. I think it'd be tedious. All right, well, anyway, we gotta do that stuff. Code new abilities, that's what we're here to do. So let's go do it. So we did the mage and the rogue. Now it's up for the warrior. Let's see. Concussive blow. Your counterattacks lower the enemy's attack power by X% for Y seconds. So first is a balance question. What should Y be? I mean, if this can stack and you can get your counterattack chance up to like 75%, then maybe it should only be for like a second. Which, no, wait, that won't work. Most enemies aren't going to attack again in a second. This is a dangerous change. It's a very dangerous change. The way basic attack is coded is it's got a random cooldown from 1.5 to 3.5 seconds. So if you make this anything less than 3.5, it's possible it just literally doesn't affect the enemy. And anything less than 1.5, and it will never affect any enemy because all of them just have basic attack right now. So maybe a better way of doing this. Okay, I have a better idea. Yeah. The next attack the enemy does will have lower attack power. I think that's good. Okay. Hosting a small housewarming party tonight. Always feeling a bit nervous for hosting things. I got something for everyone. Do I have enough? I think that is kind of inherent to hosting sometimes. Like, will everyone have a good time? They have the things that they want. Also, I feel like as you get older, it becomes slightly harder to host because I remember at college age, it was like, oh yeah, pizza and like a ton of desserts and stuff, and that was fine. And now people are much more diet conscious and oh, pretty much just that, I guess. Oh, and also people leave a little earlier too. All right, I think I want to change this. I think I want to say the next attack, I guess, decrease the power of the enemy's next attack by X%. What I'd like to do is if this hits multiple times that it stacks. This effect can stack, affecting the second and third hits. Yeah. Hey, same with that. Hey, Trackley. Okay, I like this new theming of this. I think this is really good. And it's a very unique effect. So let's get to it. Ability ID. We're going to go make concussive. I'm curious if I just... Yeah, nice. It knows it's concussive blow. All right, and then this is going to work just like how... What was that skill called? Expose weakness, I think? Yeah, it's going to work just like this one. Concussive blow. We're just going to make... How many do we need to make? We're going to make 15 skills today. And I hope to get done with all of these in the morning. So let's see if that's possible. And then in the afternoon, I don't know what we're going to do exactly. All right, concussive blow. Does it just know what I want? Why won't you type it for me, AI? All right, where'd those icons go? I think they're in temp somewhere. Icons, where are the icons? I mean, there are icons, but that's not... Oh, thank goodness, I can scroll up. There it is, icons YAML. Oh, I was like, I've lost it. Wait, we don't have one for concussive blow? Oh, it's called withering counter. Now it's concussive blow. All right, and it was the riposte one, so let's go get that. Okay, now to write the obnoxious tooltip for this one, because I don't know how to write this bit about this stacks and make it clear. But anyway, decrease the power of It's like decrease the power of the. Oh no, this has to mention when counterattacking. When counterattacking, decrease the power of the attacker's next attack by damage or like power decrease percent. This effect can stack such that it will affect the second and third hits, etc. I'm just gonna leave it at that for now. I think it's probably good. Does the second one reduce it by a further 5% or 5% of 95? Neither. Or well, maybe you understand this correctly, but basically, let's say the. Oh wait, no, this is impossible, isn't it? Oh, this can't stack. By virtue of it being related to counterattack, it can't stack. So never mind. This is pointless. This is super easy. Yeah, I didn't think about this. And thank you for you just sort of dislodged that for me, Thels. If the bat attacks the warrior, then the warrior counterattacks, and then the bat has minus whatever, 10% attack power. In order for this to stack, the bat would have to attack again. And in order for it to attack, it means it needs to consume this. What we could do is make it potentially last for the next X attacks, like 2 attacks or something like that. Hey, Darkstorm. We can make it last for the next 2 attacks, and then we need to figure out what stacking does for this, but I don't think I'm going to worry about that yet. By the way, Dark, people listen to the sound effects. It sounds like things are generally pretty good. I've got some notes. I will eventually file those, and we can work on them as issues. So when counterattacking, this should probably use the name counterattack in here. Maybe when using counterattack. I think I like when counterattacking better. Yeah. Okay, so we just delete that, delete, and call this power decrease percent. Now, how much is fair to decrease it by? Because technically the way this is really working is it's extending the longevity of the warrior by a bit. But counterattack is not a guarantee. And what's the highest level you can get it to? I guess just with shields up? No. It's with swords up you increase. Very interesting. Maybe 20%. If the bat attacks within debuff time, it'll stack. If the bat doesn't attack within the time, it'll not stack. It'll go up to X%. Oh, what I'm trying to say is the way this works, at least right now, is it's just the next attack. So there is no real debuff time. It's like a debuff condition, and it's just that you haven't attacked again. I think we'll start this at 20%. What X% is the counterattack in the first place? So counterattack, I think, has a base rate of, 20%. So counterattack on its own is 20% chance to counter. But then you can get swords up, which increases that by... Let's just look at it in the game. No, let's just go over the swords up. Increases it by this taunt percent per level. No, that's power. Counter is 8%. So it can go up to 65% total chance to counter. So it's technically right now, this is anything between these numbers and so on up to 65. But in the future, it's probably just going to be 1 or 2 of those. Why is it a passive ability? It's because it's modifying counterattack. Like this on its own is saying your counterattack becomes a concussive blow, essentially. It's yeah, it's maybe a tiny bit strange, but that's it. Hey TJ. That wrong kind of counterattack, but it'll work. Okay, let's go code this. So we need a power decrease debuff for a certain number of attacks. And I like that idea. We need counterattack to apply that debuff. So let's go to effect ID and code this in. So power, we don't have a debuff. I never made a debuff for that? Wow, I never did. Huh. Okay. Should we just call it power debuff? Maybe power decrease debuff? We have table sprites. Please, Remy, stop it. Dark will do it. People would be so confused. Like, did my warrior just throw a table at the enemy? Oh man. All right, we have power buff. We're gonna go make power decrease debuff. Power decrease debuff. Okay, all this stuff is pretty much the same. This just turns into power decrease. And same thing with this. Power decrease. All right. Converts a percent power decrease to an absolute amount. This is actually technically power debuff. Yeah. Petition to rename concussive blow to pocket 10. You're the reason I named it concussive blow in the first place, aren't you? Don't go all king of the hill on me now. Imagine the marketing potential from Reddit posts. Am I crazy or did my warrior throw a table? Okay, it would be really funny if someone was like, why is this happening? And then someone else could respond with, it's a counterattack. I feel like that would be golden, but otherwise, I think most people aren't going to ask and it'll just be confusing for them. All right, this is working. So now we need to apply this during counterattack. All right, so will counter, deal damage. Yeah, right here. We just need to put the buff on the enemy. So power or debuff, I mean. Power to decrease debuff, PDD equals new. Now, what are the arguments? Affected entity is going to be the target, I guess the source in this case, and the affected entity is the source because we're reversing this. Then the amount of decrease and the duration. I want to do it by percent, so we got to call this power decrease dot this. All right, percentage is coming from concussive blow. And the duration, oh, it's not a duration-based thing. Oh, we got to go remove that. Oh, this needs to be a special kind of debuff. Power decrease debuff or numb attacks or something like that. Yeah. All right. Well, that's what we're doing. This is only ever going to be used by the warrior, probably. All right, for numb attacks. This is just stupid. I should have never made it decrease power by a certain amount. It should have always been a percentage, and this should have been the other way around whenever I wanted an absolute amount, which is rare. Very rare. We could just always have this be a percent decrease. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. Well, I'm putting debuff. Oh, technically, darn it. This should have been the other way around. Power decrease for numb attacks debuff. Yeah, draft. We got to say this again. All right, there. Finally, we got it. Now we put this at the end. And this goes here. And this is going to be a power decrease percent. We're not even going to deal with absolute values here. This is going to be a percent. Oh, wait a sec. How will this even work? There is nothing that you can fetch that does this. How does power buff work? It has an I power increase value. We need there to be a decrease value. Yeah, we don't have that. And is this is this this is an absolute amount. Oh my god. Nothing's ever simple. Okay. All time to go change this again. This is just regular power decrease and not a percentage. We should probably just call it absolute, huh? Absolute power decrease. Absolute power decrease. Let's go make a new one of these things. Power decrease value. Get power value, that's all fine. This needs to, what's the problem? Oh, I never renamed this to decrease. Yeah, so now this is gonna inherit or implement this, I suppose. Power decrease value. That's pretty good. Okay, power decrease from percent power. Let's make it the longest possible method name. Oh, well, that'll work. And this needs to just be renamed to decrease as well. Still seems like it works. Yeah, what's the high level of how you did yours? All right, so this is looking pretty good. The buff itself cannot have a lifetime though. It's just got to be an effect. How does this work? Effect with both a lifetime. If you only need a proc interval, if you need neither, use effect. Okay, so we can't do that. We just need this to be effect. And then what does effect take in? ID, affected entities, so no duration. And get rid of this. And this. And that. All right. So that's the basics of this. Now, when you deal damage, this should go away. Oh, wait, we need to pass in the number of attacks. What am I talking about? Num attacks. Public float. Or no, this should just be private. Private int num attacks remaining. And in here, we got to take this in two. Num attacks. All right, so like I said, every time you deal damage, so we need to override on damage dealt to do num attacks remaining minus minus, and then if that's 0, then we're gonna free this thing. I don't actually know how that works for the effect system. Is anything like this? Maybe this one is? No. Does any buff delete itself? I guess just when the time runs out. Effect with lifetime. How does this delete itself? Timed effect is disposed and effect expired. What does this do? Call when the lifetime is run out. This exists so you can differentiate between this and removed from entity, which could be called when an entity is removed from. Okay, what does this do? Oh, interesting. Okay, I guess technically that's the right way for us to do this. Yeah. So effect expired. Oh, where does that exist? Is that only in? It's only for timed effects. Okay, so then I guess we just dispose it. Yeah. Okay, so all of that's working. Now we need to go modify stat computations. And this is going to be a little bit difficult because I'm not totally sure what order this should work in. So you could have power buffs and you can have power debuffs. Which order should they get applied in? Because it's going to change things, right? If you have plus 15% and you have minus 10%, if you start with 100, you're going to go up to 115, and you're going to go down minus 11.5 to 104.5, right? But if you do the minus first, you're going to go, yeah, it's definitely going to be different, to 90 times 1.15. Yeah. I mean, in this case, it's a very, very tiny difference. No, wait, no. It's just that I did my math wrong. Okay, never mind. There's no difference, right? All stats can have flat and percent mods. Anytime you get a stat value, it calls a function to compute it. Nodes in the scene tree and have lifecycle methods. When it gets added or removed, then we have filters. It can control when the stats turn on and off. Gotcha. I see. Okay, so let's just not worry about this. So we're going to aggregate this, and then we're going to aggregate it again. Modified power equals this, and then return one more of these. So this is modified power, and this is has power decrease value, and this will be subtracting from the accumulator. So I think we should be good here. Let's take a look. Go through each effect that has a decrease value and subtract it. Yeah. And the last thing we need to do now is apply this on counterattack. Counterattack. Okay, so now this is called what? Power decrease for numb attacks. Let's call this debuff. That. And 1. Okay, now apply the debuff to the affected entity. Poison debuff. This is how this should be. Source debuff. All right, and that should do it. So how about this? Let's go make it so that concussive blow decreases power by 50% at first. In fact, so that I don't forget, let's do it this way. All right, let's make it decrease by 50% and just see, is this even functioning? And then we'll put the warrior into a battle with a bat. And every time the warrior counterattacks, we should see the damage decrease by 50% for one attack. So warrior versus bat. Fight. All right, bats are doing 10 by default. So as soon as we see a counterattack, it hasn't countered even once. It's a 20% chance. Okay, let's try that again. Are you serious? I'm not. I could increase the percentage, but it's 20. Oh, there it is. Okay, so now the next attack should do 5. Yes, perfect. Okay. Now there is something, I guess, that's a little weird about this, which is that multiple sources could eventually apply this. And if they do, this is going to break. Actually, no, it won't. It'll just stack the power debuff that you get. So if we were to put 2 of these on there at once, like let's say we just make another one of these and call this debuff 2. So now it'll make the next attack do 0 damage. Let's also increase the chance to counter to 45%. They can debuff an AoE cast. Only if they can counterattack it. Does it get removed on miss too? It probably does, yeah. And probably shouldn't be. Actually, maybe not. No, maybe not. I'll look into that next. All right. 45% chance to counter, and now it applies 2 debuffs. So as soon as this encounters, we should see 0 damage as the next attack. So far, no counter attack. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the next one should do 0. Yes, perfect. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. So let's set all this stuff back to normal. Counter attack buff. Don't do 2 of these. Okay, so the way that that numb attacks thing works is that it's only on deal damage, which I think means that it can't be a miss. Because I think misses happen up here. Yeah. Yeah, so it won't happen on misses. And yeah, either is valid from a game design perspective. So these are only successful attacks. We would need like an on tried to attack, I guess. Yeah. This is nicer to the player to have coded it this way. There's something else I wanted to do here. Oh, pass in the number. Okay, this is kind of stupid, but we'll put a public const int, delete this. Num attacks equals 1. And then use this constant. It won't be used in the tooltip because I'm not going to make some special thing if we're always going to just have to set to 1 anyway. But it will be used in... not that. Counterattack buff. It will be used in this. There. Stack warriors. Well, you can't have multiple warriors. And also stacking the warriors in that case wouldn't even help unless the AoE could be countered. And I don't think AoE can be countered. How does this work? We have a thing right here. If it's not single target damage, oh, and also if it's not multi-target. Yeah, I don't know why we did things this way. This doesn't matter right now. Nothing has a multi-target attack, but if it does, we should probably say whether or not it's counterable. In fact, maybe each ability should just know whether it can be countered. Because maybe you have something like a flurry attack, which attacks multiple targets but could be countered. And maybe you have something like a firewall, which can't be countered unless you're the hacker class. Yeah, so that took a long time. But concussive blow is now coded. So next up is survival instinct. Take X% less damage when less than Y% health. So first question is what's X and what's Y? Take, I don't know, maybe 20% less damage. Oh, wait a second. But you have shields up as well. And how much does this reduce it by? 15%, so 75% plus the fortitude buff you get, plus potions and stuff. We should probably put a cap on how much damage mitigation you should have, or you can have, excuse me. Make it progressively less with a maximum X%. Oh, that could be done, yeah. Make it multiplicative. I like the idea of stacking this and understanding what the impact is. Could be that you take up to X% less based on how much health is missing. So 0% is 0%, well, 0% missing health. And I guess 99.99% missing health would be X%. I kind of like the idea of this just sort of enabling itself at some point. Like, oh, my warrior's at half life or less. If you're below 20% HP, you just take an extra 50% less damage. Yeah. Yeah. So, by the way, I think Y should either be 25% or 50% just for ease of like eyeballing it. So then what should X be? I guess, yeah, something like 20%. And maybe we just make it so that shields up doesn't, it's just not as effective. Because I don't remember how much fortitude impacts the warrior. What is it? Fortitude is 5. Doesn't tell you. I think it's in stat computations, and I think there's some like fortitude based. Yeah, here it is. It's that divided by 500. Okay, so what are they when they're level 10? 50. So it's 10% damage mitigation. So you get 10% just by having fortitude. You get 75%. So you're already at 85%. If we add another 20%, you just literally couldn't take damage while you're taunting. Please show the code where you aggregate the buff and debuff. Yeah, sure. It is here. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to hover over that. Yeah, I think we just need to decrease the effectiveness of shields up. I also think we need to cap this somehow. Yeah, I think 95% is a good cap. Yeah. Actually, if we do set it to 95%, then do we need to cap it? Or sorry, do we need to change shields up? And still probably yes. It is very powerful. Maybe different caps for different adventurers. I think different adventurers will have naturally different caps without us needing to code them. So, for example, the rogue doesn't have a way of increasing their defense. So, if you somehow get defense, the cap is like 5% because that's just all you could ever get in the game. Whereas the warrior has tons of ways to decrease it. So, they would need a like an enforced coded cap. But yeah, I don't think it needs to be different for each one. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go change shields up. I guess. We're going to change this to be weaker. How much weaker? Actually, it doesn't really matter because we're going to change the skill entirely. Right now, there are 5 levels, and each one did 15%, so the total would be 75%. But in the future, I think they're going to be 2 levels, and it's probably going to be like 25% to maybe like plus 50%. So it's still going to feel like a huge boost when you get this. But it won't be nearly what it was. Okay, so yeah, what are we doing here? Survival instinct. Oh yeah, and then what is the Y value? We didn't come up with that yet, did we? I just said it was going to be 25 or 50. We're going to write this down. I have so many tabs open. Ah, here it is. Okay, close all the other tabs then. So yeah, take 20% less damage. I like that. And then should this be only when you're about to die? Probably. I think it's more exciting that way. Yeah. When less than 25% life. Yeah, that's what we're going to do, I think. More damage dealt at low health. That's going to be for a berserker style class. The warrior is mostly for tanking, but there are different kinds of tanks in the game. So the paladin is a healing tank. The warrior is a like a counter attack tank. And do we have another one right now? Huh. Well, anyway, we haven't added the golem yet, but the golem is going to be a mitigation tank, just all around take less damage. And I thought we had a 4th one somewhere. I'm not counting the witch doctor, am I? Healing tank, retaliatory tank. Yeah, well, anyway, the witch doctor, you could kind of look at it as like a summon tank. Yeah. Ever thought of throwing damaging entities into the battle, like poison clouds or firewalls? Mage could have a firewall that covers the entire row or column. The way I look at that is it's a positional attack. And I think the only issue with a positional attack is that you don't control any of where it goes. So it's practically the same as saying like randomly targets 2 to 4 enemies. I know it looks a little different, but I think the fun of a game of a skill like a firewall that just like creates a large line of fire. I think it's manipulating enemies such that they walk into that line for a very long time. And if you don't have that sort of skill in the game, because you literally can't affect the line being created, then yeah, I think it's less fun. Survival instinct is a hunter ability. No, I'm not going to rename it just because of WoW. All right, so 20% less damage when you're at less than 25% life. So now let's go code this. Ability ID. Survival instinct. You only have one. They're not multiple. Yeah. Concussive blow. Let's save this here. Survival instinct. All right, so it's going to be damage mitigation increase or percent. And then health percent threshold. Sure. All right, and what's the tooltip for this? When at less than health percent P0, when at less than 25% health, decrease all damage taken. No, while at less than 25% health, decrease all damage taken by damage mitigation percent. Okay, there we go. Okay, what's the tooltip for this, or the icon, I guess? I gotta stop closing this file. What's this one called? Survival Instinct? Heart Shield. Heart Shield. Okay, this is a special kind of buff. This can be on at all times, but it should only give you a certain percentage when you're at less than a certain amount of health, which is kind of interesting. So this should be passive ability granting buff. And then we just go make a survival instinct buff. Yeah. All right, let's go do that. Effect ID. Survival instinct buff. All right, what is this going to be? We have a damage mitigation percent buff, so I guess we just put this here, survival instinct buff. All right, duration is not a thing. We just have a percent increase and a float health percent threshold. So now it's just an effect. Does not have a proc, does not have a lifetime. And it has damage taken decrease value. Yeah. So now we store this off. This doesn't actually need to be public. In fact, this doesn't need to be public either. But I don't see a problem with keeping it that way. All right, so float health percent threshold. And then the damage taken value. What is this? Is it percent? Oh my God. What is this? Yes, it is. And if reflecting something you don't want to. Agree reflecting is fun overall. I think the only way to communicate the reflect happened though would be if there was a projectile that you saw like hit your character and then turn around and hit the other character. Otherwise, it just be kind of functionally equivalent to a counterattack that doesn't make you take damage. All right, this is gonna be very simple. We get the health percent, so health component dot. Do we have a get percent life? I don't recall. No, we don't. Not statically at least. So we need to actually get the health component. ECS.get component, health component. We got there. All right. And then if, actually just return, if the percent life is less than or equal to, by the way, this less than or equal to doesn't really matter, but technically we did say less than. With floating point numbers, since they're continuous scales, the odds of this ever really making a difference at 25% is like next to nothing. But it's possible. So let's put a less than. Percent increase, otherwise 0. Yep, that looks good. And this needs to be imported. All right, public should come before private. What? I don't remember that being the case. I guess it is though. Yeah, so there we go. We have the survival instinct buff. Now we want to grant this buff right here. We just do this. Return new survival instinct buff. What is this? Source. Okay. Adventure only. I wouldn't want to see a reflect while nuking with rogue. Yeah, adventure only. But what I mean is enemies don't have projectiles yet. So it'd be hard to communicate that this is what's happening. But to be honest, I don't think we'll probably have reflect work the way that it would work in other games. I think we'd have it be a counterattack that you just don't take any damage. And that way the counterattack could be that you're using your own skill, and your own skill might have better effects than reflect would have anyway. So for example, every time the mage casts a spell, they get a chance to cast all of their spells faster. So if you counterattack with one of your spell casts, then that's even better than if you counterattacked just by reflecting the enemy's fireball. And same thing with, well, maybe not exactly the same thing with Rogue, but close to the same thing with Rogue. All right, how do we test this? We need to set the health percent, let's say higher. So let's set it to 50%, and let's make the damage mitigation. Actually, 2 will be obvious. But we won't actually get down to 2, will we? Unless we make ourselves do 0 damage. Yeah, so let's make ourselves do 0 damage. Or very little damage. There we go. Wait, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Yeah. I can't believe I didn't realize this. I'm like, wait a second. This is not how this works. I coded this here that it just always decreases the power. That's not how this should work. It should be if you have the right level of, what is it? Get level of ability. You need concussive blow for this to actually work. So yeah, it should be doing nothing now. I knew something was off here. And something is off here too. The buff this return should only actually do anything when you have survival instinct. In fact, it shouldn't grant a buff. Maybe we should make get buff return an optional buff, and if there's nothing returned, we just don't do anything. If abilities component dot get level of ability. If it's equal to 0, return null. Otherwise, return a new survival instinct. Now we need to go change get buff. Fun, fun, fun. There aren't many of these, so I don't think this will be hard. If buff is null, just return. I don't know why I put a question mark there. So one of these is going to be broken now, right? Because something else must use this. Oh, darn it. A lot of things use this. Okay, well, let's just search for public override effect get buff. There aren't many of these. It should be dead simple to fix. In fact, I could have just done find and replace, but I'm already talking and doing this, and there's only like 3 more, so let's just do them all. Yeah. All right, so that should build now. Service discovery type pattern, can you use DI in Godot? You can, I mean, I guess technically use DI in practically anything. Not with the Godot stuff itself. Like, I don't think you could tell Godot to use different kinds of nodes rather than its kind of node. But we don't really have service discovery. There's just dependency injection via passing in references to classes. And they could just inherit from a common base class or a shared interface. Whoops. I did not mean to drag that window. So what are we testing? We're testing the warrior and we're testing their last stand. So if I just start a battle, nothing should be different here, and we can speed this up. Should really make a speed up button. So they'll just always take full damage, right? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Yeah. All right, because I did not put any points into their skill. Where is their skill? Oh, drat, I didn't mean to do that. I hit level up. I didn't want to level up. I wanted to just debug grant points. This button. Oh, and now this won't work because I never even manifested the skill. Warrior. Okay, where do you get this? Shields up and then rage. Shields up and then rage. Disorient, survival instinct, and then swords up. Ability ID, survival instinct. And the bottom row has concussive blow and relentless crush, which we don't have relentless crush coded yet. What was this called? Concussive blow. Yeah. Oh, the get component. That is the entity component system. The entities have bundles of components, and calling get component will get one of them if it exists. And if it doesn't, then, I mean, you can do something based on that. In this case, health components you have to have in a battle. Otherwise, you couldn't be in a battle. All right, so we got to do this again. We got to do this. I don't want a power buff. I don't want this, actually. I guess I'll take the power buff. And then what's the thing we're testing? This one, survival instinct. Okay, so we put a point in that. While less than 50% health, decrease all damage taken by 20%. Now let's see if that's working. I'm going to speed this up. All right, so we're still above 50%. We're taking 10 damage per hit. We get close to 50%. We should start taking 8 damage per hit. Nice. Nice. Now, if we went above 50% again, then we should start taking 10 damage again. All right, take care, M2. Okay, so this is working. Let's test concussive blow as well. We'll put a point into that. So now whenever we counter, the enemy is going to do less damage. Yeah, neat. And they should stack. So if we counter when we're at less than 50% life, We'll take 6 damage. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Yeah, this greatly increases the survivability of the warrior. Do you still plan to add a log of hits and healing each battle? I never planned on adding it to begin with. Also, high unknown. Because I think that players won't care. And I think that for us to change this for ourselves is just too much work for a feature that we only use when we're adding new skills. Now, to be fair, there have been bugs that haven't been caught until Dark finally plays the game and is like, hey, this seems wrong. And I'm like, it is wrong. The last one that was caught was that Poisonous Skin had this line was actually written like this. Do you spot the difference? So when written as this line, we're adding the percent as just an absolute number. With this line, we're actually adding it as a percent. So we were increasing damage by 1 instead of increasing it by like 100, basically. Hey, Damage. Haven't been keeping track of the project. Are you adding unit tests? I see you mostly do manual tests. No, not really adding unit tests. For a lot of this stuff, I think it would be good to do, but a lot of the game changes pretty rapidly, and I think we'd end up invalidating quite a lot of the tests that we write. But thanks for resubbing. I think we'll need more unit tests as we get close to launch, and there are things that we need to make sure won't regress. Namely, the save system is pretty important. Shows damage breakdowns as percentages. Yeah, I think that could be added as a feature. I just don't think a damage log will be added as a feature. Like warrior used crush, bat took 12 damage, bat used basic attack, warrior took 4 damage, -2 from whatever concussive blow or something. Like something like this, I think would be way too much. Yeah, warrior missed. We could just hard code that. All right, we're on the final ability for the warrior now. Decrease crushes cooldown by X%. So how do we do this? Crush doesn't need to set a different cooldown, but I guess what does that? Mental swiftness does. So we'd have a buff. No, we don't have a buff. We just have a get cooldown. Oh, nice. We'll just do this like we did with Quick Strike then. Okay, well, then let's start. Nice. All right, what's this one called? Relentless Crush. Relentless Crush. Sounds better in terms of the warrior than it does with Valentine's Day. We need to go make this look like this one. Hey, Craze, it's going well. We just onboarded Kevin to development. So now there are, I think, 5 people working on Skeleseller. Yeah, 4 people and me. So we've maximized our chance for success. Wait, what? People can onboard? What do you mean? The last person to be onboarded was Ski. So clearly the team must be able to grow. But yeah, Kevin will be helping with development. And I think this will allow me to keep going kind of full throttle ahead on some of these features and yet still have these other things get done. So for example, I think Kevin's first task is going to be to make the title screen. And I can, hang on, let me show you. Because for those who haven't seen this, I think this looks pretty good. This was just a quick mock-up that Quickie Joe did. Give me a sec. I got to load this from Discord, which is why this takes so long. Yeah, so take a look. Here's the title screen mock-up. So we got these cool looking buttons. There will be something like new game, settings, load game, probably a 4th one for quit. Yeah, Dark writes some code too, yeah. Not sure if this is a personal question, but is Darkstorm Polish? I mean, I know the answer, and I don't think it's private, but let me see if it's on their Discord. Yeah, okay. It is on their Discord or on their GitHub. Yeah, check Twitter. Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to add in the title screen. This is something that I didn't feel was critical for Checkpoint 4, but it's obviously critical for the game. So we might as well have the title screen. Now, I do want to compose title screen music, and I've had an idea for it, but I still haven't finished with the other track that I started. So yeah, I got to put in a lot more time into music. Okay, so Relentless Crush. We need to figure out how much we're decreasing Crush by. How much does Crush? It's every 3 seconds. What if we made it 30% faster? I kind of want to do that. Yeah, I kind of want to make it 30%. Crush cooldown bonus 30%, or maybe Crush cooldown reduction. I like reduction better. All right, what's the icon for this one? Revolt. Cool. Relentless Crush. Decrease Drat. We need to go get the display name. I guess we can just look at Quicker Strike. It's pretty much the exact same thing. What's our flavor text we should write for this? Nah, I'll just make it not be flavorful for now. So decrease your No, I'm gonna just repeat the exact same thing. All right, so this is Crush name. Crush. Causes Crush to be even faster. Its cooldown is oh my god. All right, I'm gonna change this even once more. We need the adventurer component on the entity. Oh man, did we ever get the class display name, I wonder? Adventurer, do we have wait, we don't have this? We have adventurer class, yeah, we have that. Then this gets passed into data somewhere. Adventurer data, display name. Do we use this in any skills? We don't. Interesting. Huh. I don't know. What I wanted to write is like makes, I guess we just use the pronoun you. Yeah, okay. Allows you to use Crush even faster. And we just say the percentage. So allows you to use Crush cooldown percent faster. Yeah, that's it. No, we don't need any of this stuff. Given your plan to sell the game, are the folks helping you out doing it out of the goodness of their hearts? So I've said that all the compensation is unfortunately, what's the word? Contingent compensation. So if the game does terribly, then yes, everyone will help me out of the goodness of their hearts. But if the game does well, then yeah, the payment will be, based on revenue basically, and probably up to some limit for some people, possibly everybody. Allows thou a cave and skull. I like it. Yeah. Yeah, and I know it's kind of weird, but I had said that the budget of the game is going to be $500, which is why I wanted to have all the revenue be contingent. Because I think one of the big mistakes, I've never shared what Botland's budget was, but it was a lot more than that. and then Botland made a lot less than Skeleseller probably will. And yeah, it's not smart. Yeah, it was at least $505. I can reveal that much. Even I'll go even a penny higher than that. I shared a spreadsheet with stats at some point. The stats I might have shared would have probably been somewhat, what's the word? I don't know, obfuscated a little bit. But maybe I actually did share my ledger. I'd be very surprised if I did that. I think it was mostly Amazon costs. Yeah, that I probably would have shared. Yeah, that I don't necessarily mind. Maybe using dev time in your calculations. So I think the way I kind of look at it is more in terms of impact. So like valuing output more than valuing input. But I haven't fully figured this out. The other thing is that remember that Steam takes a 30% cut no matter what. So for every $100 you make, it's actually $70 that you then have to split up. And even then, there's probably a lot of other pieces of the pie that get divvied up before you see any money. How much am I paying you? That's true. Oh man. Okay, we got to ban Yo. Okay, so now we just got to do this just like we did with Quicker Strike, which is going into Quick Strike and getting cooldown in the initialize. Cooldown for tooltip actually changes here. This is kind of a weird way of doing things. Let's close out of all this stuff. So where do we put this? Here, get cooldown. I don't need a function for this because we don't modify the tooltip. But I still want to see what that does. Oh, this is dead simple. Yeah, dead simple. Cooldown equals base cooldown, which I don't even think we have. It's just 3. Do we code this in there? Base cooldown is there. Yep, cool. All right, let's do that. Base cooldown. There might have been a way to get this. In fact, actually, shouldn't there have been? Can I just call this cooldown equals cooldown minus whatever? Yeah, this should work. Get level of ability for source. I guess we call this entity. The parameter is named source. Okay, fine. And this is a relentless crush. And it's times relentless crush dot reduction. Okay, I'm pretty sure that'll work. Now we need to go manifest the ability in here. Relentless crush. I thought it would fill in the ability ID part for me. And that's that. Minus 1 point for every hour of not being helpful. You'll owe me money by the end of this. Actually, you won't because you've already been subscribing. If you want someone to help out for free, even if it's just once overing PRs or whatever, give me a shout. Happy to help with spare cycles where possible. Yeah, thank you, Dels. I do appreciate it. I think so. It's kind of funny because the way that I kind of treat the criteria for like modding, for VIPs, for even sort of like onboarding new people has been sort of chat history, I guess. Like what made me think of Kevin specifically was that Kevin had already been helping and helping with a level of detail that was like, okay, Kevin's really paying attention. Thels, on the other hand, Thels has been fighting with other Scots in chat, just running his mouth about whatever. No, I'm kidding. You have been helpful, Thels. I think we're at a critical mass where I think taking on new people would add more of a management cost than I would get benefit. But yeah. Unless it was you deleted, but still, who says where you replaced her code with isn't strongly derivative? It's true. She did type a whole line of Z's the other day. Yeah, Thals, can you manage? And can the first person you manage be yourself? And can you control yourself in chat? If you can do all of these things, then maybe we can onboard you. No, I'm not trying to like dangle this over people or something. I think we're in a good spot right now. Yeah. Okay, so I want this to be a skill that I get, but I guess it's not gonna be super obvious. It's gonna be 30% faster. So I guess let's have them enter a battle and just see how many crushes does it take to win. 1, 2. Why did the first one do 72 damage? How is that? Oh, maybe I counterattacked and that's what did 36. That makes sense. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay, well, this is stupid. Yeah, there's going to be pretty much no way to tell this is working. So we need to go change the amount from whatever it currently is to something much higher, like 90%. And then we need to just give the warrior that ability, which is where I have this markdown thing. Grant ability. We put this here. Go to town. hire random adventurer. What's the order? Rogue, mage, warrior. So we need to call this twice. So we do hire random adventurer. That's the mage. Now this is the warrior. Warrior equals that. And then we do warrior give you whatever that thing was called. What was that called? Relentless crush. There we go. And that should work. Yeah, this is the interview. You're failing miserably. Okay, so now they should have 1 point in this. It doesn't show, but when we get into a battle, they should be doing like a ludicrous amount of damage with crush. Nope. Means I probably messed something up. What did I mess up? 90%. Crush. Cooldown. 0.9. No, this is minus. This is the same problem I had originally. This needs to be cooldown times that. Yeah. Yep, that'll do it. Test is on maximum adventure level. It gets pretty interesting, especially with Rogue. Well, Rogue, I think, is the biggest problem element when it comes to sounds. Well, I guess you watch the VOD, so you know. My feeling is that they sound like a metronome. So yeah, we need to probably increase the pool of sounds, probably decrease the volume by a bit, probably pitch shift even more. So let's put this into battle again. Now it should finally work. Yeah, look at that. Crush, 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 crush. They're basically a rogue now. Except unlike the rogue, they get ludicrous effects when they level up here. So let's add some levels. Rage. When crush misses, you gain a 0% power bonus. So if we were to put 5 points into this, the warrior's gonna have double power every time it misses, and for 7 seconds, and it stacks. So we should win the battle pretty quickly. Yeah, it goes to 4 to 6 to 10 to 12. All right, what else can we do for this? When it hits, they have a chance to miss. All right, so we put a bunch of points into this as well. All right, so now they should be able to take on a really high level instance. I can't just unlock the instances right now without leveling up the warrior, and I don't want to level up the warrior, so I'm gonna do this. BioAim, thanks for the resub. Welcome back. 15 MOs. I appreciate it. Okay, so you ready for the warrior to be a one-man killing machine? They're taking almost no damage. They're also not actually doing that much. One-man killing machine. They are handily winning this battle so far. But yeah, the problem is that they're level 1. So just for the sake of having fun here, let's go make them be a higher level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now let's have that battle go again. And now instead of doing like 10 damage per hit, they should do, well, a lot more apparently. Yeah, they are destroying the enemies. Neat. Doesn't affect most of the sounds. I don't have the knowledge to explain it. Some sounds are perfect on 50%. Some show change on 50. Oh. I think pitch shifting downward is more of an impact. So maybe it's like minus 30% plus 50% or something, but I'm not actually sure. I need to do some experimentation with that myself too. Have customers closer to each location, effectively speed up your selling rate. That's a pretty cool idea. Let's write that down under ideas. Yeah. Hey, Unknown, do you want to work on Skeleseller? Maybe just once over some PRs or something like that? No one's ever offered to do that for me before. Maybe. If I gave Unknown access to the code base, equipment would be coded within the hour. Wouldn't even be a thing. Just poof into existence. Superhuman level of coding. All right, all we got to do is undo this now. I think 30% is probably a good amount to change this by. Equipment, stats, crafting. The game just becomes Diablo. All right, if we coded all of this correctly. Level of Relentless Crush. Nerf that. Change that. Yeah, looks good. Oh, I got to read the tooltips. We got to do that before I forget. A lot of these changed because I just made this thing optional, which probably should be its own commit, but I'm not going to do that. Let's crush. Okay, tooltips. Don't forget tooltips. This is broken. Not anymore. Oh, and that's also broken. Whew. Modified power. Yep, yep. 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 Cool. Oh, wait, there's more. What is this? Survival instinct buff. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Looks good. Looks good. And looks bad. We gotta remove this. Okay. Now we run this. Also, hi, Caleb. I think you were chatting earlier. I just didn't say hi because you were chatting about something we were talking about at the time. Okay. All we're doing is looking at the tooltips to make sure they sound good. And we've only added 3 abilities, right? This one. So while at less than 25% health, decrease all damage taken by 20%. Sounds pretty much fine. When counterattacking, decrease the power of the attacker's next attack by 20%. Maybe after counterattacking? Not sure which is better. After counterattacking or when counterattacking? How about counterattacking decreases the power of the attacker's next attack by 20%? Wait, first time tuning in today. What? Can't be possible. Who did I see in chat? Oh my god, it is possible. Who was that earlier? Hold on a second. I want to get to the bottom of this because I don't know how I mistook that. Someone else have... Oh my god. Okay, yeah. It was coding with Carlos. You both have purple names. And your names are practically the same too. Wait, what? I only just noticed this? Well, their names are also very similar. Yeah. Oh man. They both have a C, an A, an L. There's just there's very little different between their names. I should probably rerun this just to make sure I'm happy with this new thing. Lower durability, but better stats. Actually, that's something we could do for the enchant system, I suppose. There could be a rare version of an item that just grants an enchant for less time. Okay, so now this is counterattacking decreases the power of the attacker's next attack by 20%. Allows you to crush 30% faster. Yep, cool. It's all pretty good. Yeah, oh yeah, totally relegated to that. Not at all that your names are practically identical. Just ignore that part. Add the warrior's skills. All right, nice. I guess I'll say part of this change involved adding a... Wait. What's the buff? Counterattack? I don't remember. It's passive ability granting buff. What did I just add that does this? Survival instinct. Okay, yeah. Part of this change involved allowing survival instinct to not get added unless its level is not get added as a buff. Unless the level is greater than 0. hence why so many files changed. Okay. All right. Next up, what class are we doing next? I'm just gonna keep going down the list. Class design, mage, rogue, warrior, all done. Next, cleric. Never felt so irrelevant. By the way, I do want to watch that video you sent. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Each time your adventurers die, they get buried in a graveyard, and you cannot hire respawn anymore if the graveyard is full. What do you do about the graveyard? Does a witch doctor summon zombies from them? Is my chat revolting right now? Is there a mutiny going on? Also, how did I plan to get 5 classes done when it took me an hour and a half for one? Whatever. If it takes all day to do this stuff, I think that's fine. If it takes more than today just to code the skills, I think that's not as fine, but it's still fine. All right, what do we need to code first? Resonance. Increase damage dealt by resonant healing by X%. Okay, how does this work? Let's look at resonant healing. There should be a deal damage call in here. Yeah. So this needs to be modified by what? If you have a point in resonance. Okay, this should be dead simple. Additionally, revive dead adventurers as a powerful zombie. But then what if you also had a revive ability, I guess? Or would that be your revive ability? But these are things, okay, these sorts of ideas. I think once we're at the point where the game is like close to done and we have a good idea of like how will this system work, I think they could be added. But I think right now it's like we've got quite a lot we've got to do. Buy more plots, hire a groundskeeper to cut the grass, dig up the graves for treasure, fire the groundskeeper, all kinds of fun stuff. Maybe the groundskeeper could be named Dampe. Wait, there. And maybe there could be pots all around. $555 chat messages sent in chat. Is that across all chats? You don't really expect to die in battle. It's true you don't expect to die. And I think revive as a skill would be very disappointing. I think there are ways to sort of get this to work. Just mine? Oh, cool. Oh, that's 555 instances of Thells in our lives, multiplied by however many chatters we have. You're really amplifying your presence around the world. Now get out, spammer. All right, what's this called? Resonance? Resonance. All right, this is going to be pretty much just like any of the other ones that we had here, like this. Okay, what is the icon name? It is... I used the same one twice. Okay, well, whatever. All right. All right, increase damage dealt by resonant healing by X%. How much should this change it by? Am I taking off on Monday? I don't think so. Are you saying because my parents are going to be here? Because I was thinking of keeping the stream schedule the same. Just Monday, Wednesday, Friday, normal hours. And taking like Tuesday and Thursday, take them off completely. So normally I do other kinds of work on Tuesday and Thursday. Those days I'll probably just not. Yeah, careful. There's a certain spam level that gets you hired. Right around 800 messages. Oh, I don't really observe any traditional holidays at all. So yeah, like if I'm available on July 4th, for example, I'll stream on July 4th. Oh, that's true. Jump Royale really inflates the amount that you send. Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's probably something to be said for some holidays. People are less likely to watch Twitch, like probably Christmas and probably July 4th. Actually, I kind of wonder what's the most impactful US holiday on Twitch viewer stats. The reason I would guess July 4th is that it's the summer. Almost everyone has it off. And because it's summer, you might be going somewhere, doing a barbecue or a weekend getaway or something like that. So yeah, I imagine people probably don't really. Well, yeah, yeah, Americans. Sorry, that's what I meant. American Twitch viewers with American holidays. Because I guess no matter what, there's no holiday that's going to be the same for everyone unless it's a religious holiday, right? And even the everyone part is. I'm going to stop talking. Okay, so this does 40% of the damage, or of the healing is damage. I don't think you rely on the cleric for damage, so I think this could be like quite a lot, like 50%. But it's only a resonant healing. Resonant healing damage percent bonus. Yeah, New Year's, that's true. Although even then, I guess do people who celebrate the lunar New Year celebrate the solar New Year as well? Or is it just like a minor holiday? I actually never thought about that. Huh. Only American viewers a lot. I think the US is still number one as in terms of viewer representation here. There was a way of checking this. Let me see if I can find this really fast. Oh, here we go. Okay, here's just is today. Yeah, yeah, this is today's stream. I hope there's nothing private on this, but whatever, I'm going to show this anyway. Let's see, views by location. I mean, it's worth noting that it's 10:35 on the West Coast in the US and 1:35 p.m. on the East Coast. So it's pretty good times for people in the US to view. But yeah, US, then Germany, then Canada, UK, Poland, Sweden, Netherlands, Brazil, Russia, Switzerland. So hi everyone from the rest of the world. Is Funky Monkey here right now? Or are you just saying in general? No, Funky Monkey's not here. Show more and you know where Finland is? Finland is at the very bottom. Yo, I need you to get like 6 of your friends. Yo is sick. Just be nice to Yo today. All right, so this is increased damage. Are we saying increase or increases? Drat, I really need to do a consistency pass for this. Causes. So then this should have been decreases. I don't actually know. Increases damage dealt by resonant healing. By percent bonus. Cool. Hey, Fox. Good to see things going so well. Yeah. Yeah. How have you been, Fox? As long as you're already not lurking. 66% non-NA or NNA for short. Woo, we made it. Yeah, I wonder which countries are like 1%. I guess people in chat would know if they're from a country that wasn't listed there. Also, that was for a stream that wasn't completed. It was in the morning. Maybe those numbers shift a bit. Maybe I should check that one evening stream I did and see. Actually, you know what? I am kind of curious now. All right, sorry. I know I'm getting sidetracked, but it's okay. It's Friday. It's Friday. I just hired somebody else. All right, so Friday. Yeah, this evening stream, which was like the only evening stream I've done in a very long time. The countries there. Whoa. US went way up. Huh. Interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I guess for people in Europe, a lot of this is going to be like very early morning. I remember Yo popped in and said it's 7 a.m. Yeah, US and Canada. Still Germany somehow. Man, I think German people love this stream. So hi, Germans. Slowly making progress myself. I was going to say the stream. Yeah, yeah. Nice to know that people are out there watching and enjoying. Glad to hear you're doing well. Watch during the day while at work in US on East Coast. Cool. Hey, Warriors. Yeah. All right, let's go add this in. So the resonant healing buff, we're going to get the total damage dealt, and we're going to increase it by, I guess we could say damage equals or plus equal damage times, where's the level of of an ability? We don't have it. Abilities component, get a level of ability of the affected entity. I want resonance, and it had suggested resonance. There we go. Times that. Perfect. Okay. So let's go manifest the ability. Cleric. Where does this one go? Where does this one go? I don't even see this. Oh, it's called Improved Resonant Healing. We're calling it Resonance. I don't know if this should be in the final row. Increasing the damage dealt by the cleric is not such a great thing. Whatever, let's leave it there. Ability ID dot resonance. All right, now let's try it out. Oh, we also got to make skill changes to the classes. I forgot about that. We wanted to change reactive healing. Yeah, I'm going to write this down. Make sure we've made all of the skill changes for adventurers, e.g. reactive healing. What was the other ones? Steady shooting, I think. Steady shooting, etc. Okay, game has been started. We're going to start a battle with the cleric. They're going to do a pathetic amount of damage. All right, so they heal themselves. They do like 2 damage per hit. Exciting. So now we're going to grant them some skill points and put a point in resonance. Increase damage dealt by resonant healing by 50%. So I guess now they'll do 3 damage per hit. This kind of shows how weak this is. They're doing 4. Probably because the actual amount of damage earlier was like 2 point something. 2.4 even would have done this. So that we'd go up to 3.6 so that it'd get rounded to 4. Yeah. Streams end perfectly for when I get off work. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah. So you can't really test this in a vacuum because it's in the final tier. So for you to have gotten to this point means you probably would have increased your healing power. So for example, this would help a lot, and this would help. Actually, all of these would help. So now if we start a battle, now we'll do a lot more DPS. I didn't actually let the last battle finish. I should have. Yeah. So you see more damage numbers appearing on the enemy because regenerate counts, reactive healing counts. It's not it's not enough to make the battle actually get won quickly. Where are the stats? Show stats. Yeah, just a casual 50-second battle after putting 6 points into the skill tree. That's the cleric for you. Viewed on the wisdom icon. You know, I showed my wife yesterday. I'm like, oh, look at these icons. And she's like, the style doesn't really match. I was like, yeah, but if I have Quickie Joe do these icons, he's going to need to make like 70 icons. And then she's like, what if I made the icons? So I got to talk to Quickie Joe at some point. Okay, well, it's working. Let's move on to the next one. I'm not going to do the skill changes yet. Although, did I miss any? No, not there. What about here? No, I didn't miss any there. What about this one? No. So this is the very first one that we had as a change. This is reframed to when a party member is below X% life, cast heal on them. This effect can only happen once every Y seconds. This is kind of, it's not great. Yeah, it's not great. I think maybe just when a party member takes damage, cast heal on them. This effect can only happen once every Y seconds. Because why have the hole below a certain amount of life? I don't think that really makes sense. But this condition is always going to be met for every single battle, always. So even this is pretty much just saying, like, lower the cooldown of heal. What would make the most sense here? Running 100 battles with all possible skill combinations and instances of 1 to 9 enemies. Believably hard to simulate since there are skills based on damage taken, amount of enemies, etc. I think we need to put some thought into it. But what I did with the balance simulator in Idle Ascendance was to just randomly make builds. I think what we need to do is try various like min maxing. We don't need to test every single combination. That's going to be such a crazy amount of combinations that it's not going to be a good idea. But we just need to get an idea for like, are there any massive outliers? But even then, the reason we're using the balance simulator that we'd make is so that we can change numbers. So we probably want a way to change them and see how the numbers affected the changes. So it's not a small feature. Going to be pretty intense. All right, I don't actually know what this should be. Because the more I think about this, the more I think all we've done is we've said cast heal more often. I guess this way wasn't necessarily cast it more often, but it will eventually get to that way. I don't know if that makes it interesting. I like the idea of something being based on taking a lot of damage. Yeah, it isn't exactly lowering the cooldown. It's similar to lowering the cooldown, but it's not the same since heal works on the, I think it works on the party member with the lowest health. And the person or the adventurer taking damage isn't necessarily at the lowest health, but is probably a tank. Could you just run a headless simulation on all skill point distributions? Well, so the reason why I said I think there are too many combinations is because I don't think it's probably too interesting to see how all the classes work in isolation. So you'd need to test something like Rogue with a skill layout of like, picture something like this being a skill tree, with the Warrior with a skill layout of something like this, and with the Archer and a skill layout of something like this. And so now you'd be like, okay, now let's test this being 0 and this being 1, and then run another million of those, and then like change this to 0 and change this to 2. And so that's, I think there are too many combinations for us to work with. But we probably don't need to test every combination. And then there are lots of different battles and there are different bosses and everything. So yeah, it's going to be challenging. Just loop over it and get some stats at the end. Yeah, we could also just randomize some of these too, right? Just randomly pick a row, randomly pick a warrior, randomly pick an archer, run like 1,000 of those and see which ones ended up being like massively ahead of all the other ones. But even then, you have to pick like, what is the fitness of winning a battle? Is it speed of battling? Is it health of adventurers at the end of it? Is it the likelihood of winning? Like, I think this is the most important. You want to win battles, or else it doesn't really matter what the other ones are. And then probably the most important after that is speed. But it could be the speed of how long it takes you to regenerate afterward. It could be the loot earned. It could be, yeah. So, like I said, I got to put some more thought into it. Whatever we do is going to be some slice of the search space and not the entire thing. And I wonder if we would find the overpowered builds of yesteryear. I mean, the cleric is technically still one of them, but I wonder if it would find the cleric and be like, oh, it won 100% of all the battles. Yeah, we have some interesting stuff to check out. All right, is this good? Or should there be something else here? I kind of at least like this one. When a party member takes damage, cast heal on them. This effect can only happen once every Y seconds. I think I like this framing of it. At least that way we have a limit on the healing throughput. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do this later though. Reactive healing needs to be done. I didn't touch that. I'm not going to touch that. All right, so what are the other two? Shield of Unity. While the cleric has living allies, the cleric takes less damage. Oh, the idea was while the cleric has living allies, she cannot be targeted. Oh man, I just love this idea. I just think it's so cool. 1 damage to instantly trigger healing, then a big hit. It'd be hard to time that even if we were aiming for that. I kind of want to just do this and see if it's a good or bad idea later. It's basically saying the cleric can't die as long as she has an ally. Yeah, let's do it. I think I'm going to do it this way. All right, what's this called? Shield of Unity. And what is the icon for that? Shield of Unity. Shield echoes. All right, how are we coding this? So yeah, living allies, you can't be targeted. We made a cannot be targeted. Yeah, this. This is a component. What adds this component? Why did I make this a component? Why didn't I just make this an effect? Why did I do that? This is very strange. Yeah, this is very strange. Yeah. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, I don't think that should be done. All right, I think that needs to be a cleanup thing. Cleanup. Change. What's it called? Untargetable by enemies component. Whoops. Into an effect. All right. And then we give it to the cleric based on whether or not they have allies. So there's got to be something that checks whether an ally died, which we don't have that ability to do that. Do that at work all the time. The thing is, I have a pause play key on my keyboard, but then there's something weird, and I've never figured this out. If I press some combination of other keys, it treats it like it's pause and play. And like there, I press something with Z, and I don't know what happened. And there are like 4 different shortcuts that do this, and they're shortcuts I press all the time. But if I literally just press like play on my keyboard right now, yeah, it also opens this. But at least that makes sense. That's the media key that's supposed to play music, and I don't have a music player open, so it opens a music player. All right, well, they have living allies. So how's this going to work? We need at the beginning of the battle to figure out how many different adventurers there are. And then anytime one of them dies, or anytime one of them is created, but the only way they can be created is if, no, I shouldn't say is if a summoner summons them immediately, because there could be a delayed summon maybe. Oh, also, oh man, the witch doctor has to be alive for this to work. Enemy dies, summon a zombie. Note, make sure coding this, make sure the witch doctor is still alive. I don't want it to be a debuff on enemies. So yeah. Shield of Unity. At the beginning of battle, mark whether it should be active. Whenever an ally is created, i.e. summoned, or dies, update whether the effect should be on. We got to be very careful about this, because if you become untargetable and you're the only person living, then you'll never die. Yeah. By the way, something that could be kind of interesting here is if reactive healing only worked on allies. Yeah, when an ally takes damage, cast heal on them, and it doesn't count for you. Interesting. Okay, so we need an effect somewhere that's going to do this. We'll call this Shield of Unity buff. Let's go take Survival Instinct. Say this is Shield of Unity buff. Doesn't do a power thing or anything like that. Doesn't have this stuff. Doesn't have anything really. And we don't need this. All right. Now we need to grant this from Shield of Unity. Oh, which I never even coded. Yeah, because I wasn't sure how I wanted to code it. But I guess it's going to be like Survival Instinct. So Shield of Unity. All right, delete this stuff. What's the icon? Shield Echoes. Camel case this thing. Or not camel, what is it? What's the... What was the thing I want? I've already wasted a bunch of time looking for it now. Pascal case? I don't know. Whatever. I'll just put spaces in there. Although even that wouldn't have worked originally because I would have needed to change the of to be lowercase. So this is going to make a Shield of Unity buff. And we don't need any of that stuff. And this is going to say what exactly? So while you have living allies, you cannot be targeted by enemies. Cool. All right, time to go fill in all of this stuff now. There should be an initialize in here or a start or what do I call this? Added to entity, I guess that's it. Is this basically at the beginning of battles? Yes. Yes. Okay, let's get this over here. Update effect. Okay, private void update effect. To do, figure out how many allies you have and apply, what is it, targetable appropriately. So this is added to entity. We need to know whenever anything dies. Would it be the cleric cannot be targeted? Not sure the language you've been using versus you versus the blank. I've been using you in those cases, and I wrote a little thing here. Writing tooltips. Use the word your to refer to the character. Grants a chance to immediately refresh your other abilities. Say enemy or ally instead of target. Oh yeah, have I been doing that part? Healing a target. Okay, healing an ally. Over healing the ally. Any others where I use the word target? That's an English word, that's fine. Anything else? Oh man, there are a lot of these. Yeesh. Okay, well all we need to do is search in the abilities folder, so I guess all we care about is this. Smashes a single target. Yeah, crush should say enemy. Any others? Bolts can hit the same target, same enemy multiple times. Always targets the enemy with the lowest health, that's fine. Strikes a single enemy with your shield. Hitting 2 different enemies. Taunts all targets, taunts all enemies. Man, so much for my style guide if I'm just going to ignore it everywhere, right? Erratically shoots at a single enemy. Any others? Poison the target. Fuses your zombies' bites with venom, giving them a chance to poison the enemy. Opens the mind. Okay, this one in particular opens the mind of your party. That's got to be changed anyway, because it's got to refer to the skill. When crush hits the affected target, the affected enemy. Every 5 hits from this, you expose your enemies. This one's fine as target. This is the thing that you were attacking. Causes enemies affected or hit by fireball. This needs to be fireball display name. Anything else? Regenerate. It's got to be changed. Blesses each target healed by, each ally healed. And you're healthier than your... This one's probably fine as target. Okay, I'm gonna not do this right now. No, it's fine. It's fine, Stockton. I sidetracked myself. But the reason why I don't want to do this is because actually we're running into another problem here. This is crit, for example. It says adds a chance to critically hit the target. The reason why this made sense with the word target is because it was clear it was modifying quick strike. Now that we have skill trees laid out like this, when you see wherever it is, this, it just says, well, now I guess that's quick strike in the name, but they're not always clearly associated with the skill that they're modifying. So for example, this one, increase, no, that's clear. One of these isn't clear. Yeah, this one. This is only based on using Blessing of Haste, but it's not mentioned. So it sounds like, it just sounds confusing. And when I change that is when I should probably also change this. Okay, so how do we got to go back to Shield of Unity. And we got to figure out how many allies you have. So number of living adventurers. We don't have the battle system here. Oh, that's a problem. That's a problem. Add effects component to entity this. This is a battler. We don't have a battle system. Oh boy. Wasn't there an initialize? Did I not make this? I made it for something. Maybe I made it for abilities? I made it for abilities. That's what. Yep, here it is. Called the beginning of the instance, not for each individual battle. Yeah, I need something like this with effects. There needs to be some like initialized battle. I don't see a problem with doing this though. And we definitely don't have this, right? No, we definitely don't have this. All right, let's put this here. Initialize this. And method intentionally left empty. Good. Now our new buff is going to use that. Battle system, battle system. Good. And then whenever an entity dies, do we have that information? Almost certainly not, because I never would have needed this. No, I don't. So we need to know when something dies or when it's created. Ally died. Dying entity or dying ally. I don't think we need damage info. And I guess we need ally. It's not just created, although I guess it kind of is. It's either a revive, a summon, I think it's only those two things. Basically, something that didn't have life now has life. What do you call that? Entity became living, something like that. Ally came to life. Yeah, that's probably good. This represents when an ally is revived or is summoned. Maybe the main ability can be referred in the passive line as a rule. I think that people will probably end up glossing over that part because it's going to be smaller text than the other bits. And you'll already have to read the tooltip. So I think we should put it in the body. But that's my gut feeling for now. We'll see how people are kind of treating the tooltips. Like I said, I had that friend who played who just didn't read anything. And he's like, oh, I'd like to have symbols for things. And okay, so now we've got icons, but that still doesn't necessarily mean you'll read anything. You'll just know, oh, there are a lot of shields on this character. Must be defensive. Okay, so now we got to get ally died to work. The battle system should know this and deal damage, I guess. We need to know that they died. We call take damage on the target. This assumes that they were living, I guess. Otherwise, what if you die multiple times? Yeah, so how about this? Let's get the health component target HC. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so bool was dead equals that. And now if not was dead and you are currently dead, then you died. And we need to run this thing for all of your allies. We have a function that does something similar, which is like on ally about to take damage. This one. How does this work? Oh, God. Oh. Oh, I see. It could have been inside effects component, but it wasn't. We get friendly targets and we remove the current target. Then we iterate over allies and do all of this stuff. Okay, well, I'm going to write something here. Private void run on ally died. Do we care about the source of the target? Yes, we care about... No, source is used... I don't care about that then. I only care about this. No target that died. Or dying entity. Yeah, that's all we care about. Yeah, it's kind of a shame how this works, but it was one of those like, well, it accomplishes our task. So what we want here is we want to get the friendly targets of the dying entity, sans dying entity, and then iterate over all of them and just call effects component dot call effect function. How do we do this in the rest of this class? Like so. Ally on ally. Where's on ally died? Oh, it's just called ally died. And the dying entity is this one. And now delete all this stuff. And delete that. Okay. I think there should be a function that gets allies of target that encapsulates these couple of lines. Get allies. Just get allies, I think it's fine. And it's just going to be this code. Allies equals get friendly targets of the entity. We don't need a num targets. We return allies. Then we can call this from here. Wow. Get allies target, I think, is what we had there. Cannot implicitly convert from a read-only list. Oh, we don't need to. All right, cool. And then we can do this here too. And this is going to be for the dying entity. And let's look at the diff there really fast and make sure I didn't do that wrong. Yep, I did that right. Okay, so slightly nicer. And I guess we could even change this here, because this should only be evaluated once when we enter the list, which just makes it that much less code. Okay, I'm happy with this. I think this is fine. This is run on ally died. This is in deal damage that we need this to be. So if you weren't dead and now you're dead, then run on ally died with the target. Yeah. So that's one. Now we have one other thing to do, which is when an ally comes into existence. So there's run on ally died. We want a private void run on ally came to life. This is, I guess, the new entity. What did we do inside effect? Ally came to life. Yeah, I just didn't rename this. This is new ally. Yeah, back in the battle system, I guess we call this new ally, sure, or new entity. Either one's fine. I don't really care. And then call this function new ally, and the thing we want to call is ally came to life. So now we need to call this from summon create battler, run this on the summon itself. And let's just make sure that that's going to be correct. Summon zombie calls this thing. Then we give it a bunch of buffs. Ooh, interesting. So if we tried doing something with a new ally, like let's say we tried seeing, is it a zombie, by seeing if it has poisonous skin, it actually won't work because it would have been called in here already. I think that's okay. I don't think we're ever gonna have an issue with that. Yeah, we need to change things around if we did care about that. I'm not concerned. We don't have the need yet, so let's not worry about it. All right, and all of this was to make it very easy to write Shield of Unity. So let's go write it. Shield of Unity buff, I guess. So there's update effect. We also need to override ally died, which is also just going to do update effect, and ally came to life. Thanks, AI. All right, so now figure out how many allies you have. How do we do that? We wrote the thing in battle system that was like something about allies, get allies. And we should probably write here, gets all friendly targets other than the one passed in. Well, it's not even get friendly, it's get friendly living targets, right? Yeah. Get all friendly living targets. Can an entity have multiple of the same component? No, they can't. Not currently. And we haven't had much of a need yet either. So typically the way that we end up doing that when we need that to be the case is that there is one component that then holds all of the things that the multiple would have held. So for effects component just has a list of effects. And you would then look at this component to see if it has any effect that you care about. I started writing this and then never finished. Yeah, figure out how many allies you have. So var allies equals battle system. Get allies of the affected entity. Then replace this, which it will not do for me. Hey, no problem, Z-Wubs. Yeah, it could work either way. I think that if you were to have multiple effects components and each one holds one effect, that you would need to end up looping quite a lot, and doing any sort of caching on that would be a little bit harder. So like technically what we could do is we could store all the effects by ID in a single component, and then when we were looking for something, we could look them up by that ID, and we have basically only to iterate over all your components once. Well, I guess you have to iterate over all your components once anyway. Yeah, never mind. I guess it doesn't change too much, but still, you could add some caching in a centralized place. Okay, so now if you have any allies, then you should have this component on you. This is why I don't want to do things as a component, but we already have it this way. Untargetable by enemies. Yeah, here. So if not ECS has the component, then add the component. All right, so there's that. If you don't have any allies, then remove the component if you have it. Remove component. How does this work? This is generic. Okay, so we just paste this. And can this be called if you have it or not? If the entity is null, if the container is null, if the component's null, return. Yeah, okay, so we can just call this no matter what. But I don't think we can call it add if we already have the component, right? Yeah, if existing component's there, it's going to throw. We need to make sure it doesn't have it. Unless we made an add if doesn't exist. No, we don't. Okay, so problem is it is really hard to test this. Because you might lose an ally and then get an ally, although currently that's impossible. But I think the way we should test this is by putting the witch doctor in a party with the cleric, maybe. Shouldn't it be greater than or equal to 1? Yes. Thank you. Yeah, good catch. Yeah, so let's go add in Shield of Unity. Where does that go? Goes in row number 2. So Shield of Unity goes here. Then let's set it up so that they just have that by default. Excuse me. What is that bog chop? Bog chop. I like that. Where's my readme? Here it is. Grant ability is here. Go to town, put this here. Hire random adventurer. Let's just have the second adventurer be the cleric. Get next adventurer class. We'll just bump this up to here, bump this down to here. Yeah, I think unit tests would be good for something like this, but I'm not going to go code the entire system for unit testing this just now. Actually, it's not really a unit test, I guess. It's an integration test to make sure that we could start a battle, have an enemy die, or have an ally die, make sure that the cleric is targetable, then create a summon. I will say this, worst case scenario is that the cleric becomes invincible. So if it were the other way around, I think it'd be frustrating, but in this way, at least you win. All right, so we want to do var cleric equals hire random adventurer. Then give the cleric whatever that thing was called, Shield of Unity. Yeah. All right. Let's try it out. So we're going to start the cleric in a battle on their own, and they should take damage as normal. So effectively, if you're soloing and you got this skill, then you have wasted a skill point. So yeah, I'm going to put the cleric into a party. They should just take damage. Everything should be fine. We should see them take 10 pretty soon. Good. Yes. All right. So that's working. Now we're going to put them in a party with the rogue, and only the rogue should take damage. Oh, we can't do that unless we have the dungeon. There. Okay, now we can do it. So like I said, only the rogue should take damage. That is not the case. What is going on there? We gave them Shield of Unity. Did it not register that it has it? No, it's got a point in it. Oh, I never even checked if they should have gotten Shield of Unity. Oh, I think I know what I did. No, I didn't do that right. Or I did do that right, sorry. We're checking Shield of Unity. We grant the buff. So let's put a breakpoint in update effect and start the battle. It didn't even get hit. Well, well, well. Oh, nothing calls initialize. Oh, right. Yeah, it's only when an enemy dies or an entity dies. Yeah, which that was getting hit correctly. Yeah, I forgot to call this. Where do we initialize all the battle or all the abilities? Because we should just initialize all the effects there too. Should be in the battle system. It's not. That's. Oh, here it is. Initialize for instance. Initialize abilities at start of instance. Where's this called from? Yeah, we just need to initialize effects. Initialize effects at start of instance. I guess if we're going to do this, we should probably write this is at the beginning of a battle. Yeah, this is called once at the very beginning of a battle. Yeah. All right, time to go write that. I copied the wrong thing, didn't I? Yeah. So we need an effects component. Initialize for instance. Passing the battle or passing the thing, yeah. Public. I didn't just change something, did I? No. All right. This should be higher up. Do we have any other static function? These, yes. Okay, so we get the effects component. Rename it to EC. Get an effect in the effects and just call effect dot initialize. Why is this not correct? Oh, because all we need is the battle system. Yeah. All right, let's try that out. Yeah, so we still need the same general beginning test to know that we've done this correctly. So you should be taking damage here. Yep, took 10. That's fine. Now we're going to start with the rogue and the cleric. And now the cleric should not take damage until the rogue dies. Good so far, good so far. Probably not coincidence that they took 4 hits in a row. Now it's almost certainly not coincidence, although it is still reasonable to win a 2 out of, or win 8 dice rolls, or 8 coin flips, excuse me. Yeah, so now they died. Looks like the cleric is taking damage. You know what would be really good for testing this is if I gave the cleric a revive ability, which I don't even think we have the ability to do in the game. Do we have a revive? No. But what if we did give them a revive? Can you have multiple clerics? Probably. Oh, I see what you're saying. Can you naturally get that in the game? No, you can't. If you could, yes, this would be 100% broken. And that's actually not something I thought of because it's not currently possible. But yeah. Oh, also, this is called interveal. I wonder if we typed that wrong anywhere else. No, this is one place. Just between two veals. Okay, so how do we revive a character? I don't even know how we can get dead characters in a battle. Get targets? Get targets only returns living ones. Oh, we could just call filter by team. Yeah, perfect. Okay, let's do that. Wait, deer meat, that's venison. Could you give the cleric zombie summon? That's actually true. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Good idea, Sockton. Faster than me coding a revive ability. All right, so we'll give you ability ID dot summon zombie. Then summon zombie should be made to be very, very rare. So once every 13 seconds. Now let's try that out. Yeah, baby cow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take your point away for that. All right, so start a battle, win the battle, start a new battle. And now pay very close attention to what's going on here. So the cleric cannot get hit as long as an ally exists. They still can't get hit, but then the rogue's going to die. Taking their sweet time dying. Come on. Kill the rogue. Kill the rogue. You can do it. Why is it taking so long? There we go. All right, and now the cleric is still not getting hit because there's a zombie. Oh, wait. No, that didn't work. Clerics are getting hit before that. Also, there's another problem here, which is that the cleric, I guess it is pretty much what Zeobs is asking. We don't really care if there are other clerics. We care if everything else is not targetable. So if there were ever a summoner that summoned a non-targetable like pixie that healed you, then the cleric would also not get attacked. Although the pixie would eventually have to die. I wonder if... Oh, and also the summoner of the pixie would have to be there. So maybe that's not really a problem. I'm pretty sure that was an issue, though. Yeah, I think that the cleric took damage while the zombie was living. And I don't know how that's possible. Oh, maybe because summons aren't considered targetable. That could be it. Yeah, we call get allies, which calls get friendly targets, which calls get targets, which does this remove anything? Oh, weird. Unless this isn't considered. No, yeah, it's not. Hey, Sintonic. Hey, did you ever was your recent rage addressed? That's a sufficiently vague question that only you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't have a reason for why the cleric was targeted here. But it's got to be that we messed up. Well, I say we, I mean you messed up. You were the ones who coded this, not me. We get the allies. If the ally count is greater than 0 and we don't have the component, then add the component. If it is 0, then remove the component. I don't see a problem here. But let's write this down. Okay, so gd.print adding untargetable. And put here removing untargetable. There's a lot, but yes, it was okay. I'm glad. So what flavor was the rage addresser? We're getting less vague now. All right, this is not like super gonna help, I guess. We need to know that an ally died. Ally died. Ally came to life. What was happening though? The rogue died, and then I don't think I was being targeted. No, maybe it was just the rogue dying. Called update effect, which called get allies, which somehow didn't get the zombie. I don't know. How about this? Let's gd.print num allies. Yeah, let's try that. Salt and tears. The fancy cheesecake with raspberries. Ooh, very cool. There's a place in a nearby city which I find this absolutely absurd. Can I look this up? Let me see. I found the place, but I can't find a picture of. Okay, well anyway, it's this place. They have Japanese cheesecake, but what was especially hilarious is the size of the cheesecake and the price of it. I can't find a picture though showing you. Maybe here. Yeah, look at these prices. So, does it say how large this is? Yeah, like a 7-inch cheesecake for $70. This is absolutely absurd. And I just kind of laughed, but a friend of mine actually did buy, I don't know, a slice or something at some other point, not when I was with them, and they said, "Yeah, it's okay." So, yeah, some people we have a lot of money spent on cheesecake. That's the lesson there. All right, we're gonna do that, that, and that. And I'm gonna keep an eye on the logs and just clear this out. Okay, so ally came to life. Number of allies is 1. This is already broken. Yeah, for whatever reason, get allies is not finding the zombie. I'm guessing. Yeah, that must be it. Huh. Yeah, I can't find the zombie. Why though? I just looked through all that code. Filter battlers by team. Is this messing up? Battlers. Oh, maybe we never add them as a battler. Do we? Battlers just summoned. Oh, yeah. We add this in an asynchronous way. That's why this is failing. Why is it so expensive? I have no idea. I don't know. But they also served like a tiny little cup of soft serve ice cream for $7. And I am pretty sure that is a very large profit margin. It's like, I think fast food restaurants, well, I guess technically any restaurant that sells soda, they get their soda in the form of some like very dense syrup and then they add the carbonated water to it. So the bag of syrup is, I don't know what, I'll just make up a number like $50. And the amount that they make from selling the sodas to customers is probably like $1,000 or something like that. So huge profit margin. I think soft serve ice cream is the same way, but I don't know. Not that it's sold as a syrup, just that the profit margin is very large. Charging by the calorie. They're onto something there. That cheesecake is very calorie dense. I feel like donuts are too. Are donuts more calorie dense than cheesecake? Probably not. So how do we address this? I guess add summon battlers is what we could call this. But then what if the battler dies before then? It technically can't, and yet it can't be found as an ally. This also fixes the problem of us not having all the abilities. Kind of interesting. That's just coincidental though. All right, well, let's put this over here. Add summon battlers. Add battler and then call run ally came to life battler. Yeah, in fact, this dead battlers thing could be where we remove these. Ooh, that would have been much smarter, right? Remove dead battlers. We could have just put this here. Then I wouldn't need to do what I did. Yeah. So deal damage doesn't need to do this. Was dead. Excuse me, man. Coughing quite a lot. Artisanal whipped cream. High profit to calorie ratio. Whipped cream calories. 52 calories per tablespoon. I don't have a great idea of what that means. But yes, we should do that. Just hurl spoons of whipped cream, not the spoon itself. Hurl the whipped cream at people from a spoon. Maybe if they're plastic spoons, you could hurl a spoon too. Not gonna hurt anyone with that. It's a degrading, high-calorie eating experience. We take your dignity and your cash. Yeah, so what if we didn't do this? What if I did this a smarter way? Yeah. Yeah, I think we just delete all this stuff. In fact, let's copy it into my stream of consciousness node if it turns out I actually do want this. Well, I don't think I'm going to want this. Yeah. So delete, 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 delete. And this would have been the health component, which I guess we don't ever use anywhere else. What did this code used to say? I think we can just revert this code. Although I don't know how to do it from here. If I click this button, does it revert just this one thing? Revert change. I'm going to try it and cross my fingers that this does what I want it to do. Did it? I don't know. I think it worked. Yeah, I think it worked. That's pretty cool. Okay, so then where do we leave off? We needed to go to remove dead battlers and call this from here now. So run on ally dead battler. Yeah, cool. I know it has revert selected lines. I wanted to see what that particular button did though. So I've done this in a bunch of different ways, like right click and go down to revert. When you're looking at this, you could actually just click, where's a good example? You could click this arrow and it'll revert it. So it was only in that particular dialogue I was unclear what was going to happen there. Because I guess it knows that it's selecting this. But I wonder if I clicked it like here, what it would do. Because it doesn't know what change I'm on, I guess. Also, welcome in, Sheep Mage. All right, so now I think we should be good. I'm glad we tested this. Yeah. The artisanal water people have a speed. Actually, that's true. Well, I guess from a cost perspective, right? All right, we're gonna start a battle. Speed up. Win battle. That should have all worked totally fine, right? Yep, number of allies 1. So we made ourselves untargetable there. In fact, we don't even need the rogue to test this. we could just have the cleric on their own. Let's see. So the cleric can't be hit. Now the cleric can be hit. They summon a zombie, they can't be hit. They only summon a zombie once every 13 seconds, so we have to wait for that. Yep, there we go. Zombie's dying. Great. Now the cleric's going to die, so let's just flee the battle and start one with the rogue in there as well. Yeah, it's working. It is working. Waiting for the rogue to die. There we go. Now the zombie came to life. Well, the cleric has had a lot of time to heal themselves. And now they'll start taking damage. Oh, whew. I was like, I think they're invincible. They are not. Yeah, perfect. All right. What brings you in, Sheep Mage? All right, I'm quite happy with this. Yeah, it turns out coding all these special skills, not simple. Too bad. Yeah, so I'm happy with this. Like I said, we're going to eventually run into some scenarios where you could have a summoner. Like, I wanted to make a summoner slash healer, and they, like, summon a pixie that can't be targeted, that heals 3 times and then disappears. Something like that. Maybe this is not even a smart idea. But the cleric would see that pixie as an ally, and neither would be targetable. So if the summoner had to exist to be able to summon the pixie. But if the summoner were to die, then it means that your party couldn't take damage until that pixie died. And I wrote this right on the untargetable component itself. Makes an entity untargetable. Be very careful to add a death condition or death or removal condition to entities with this component. Otherwise, they may not be able to die since they can't be targeted. Maybe it was the algorithm. Gotcha. Totally fine. I was just curious. I think for most people, it's probably either stream title or stream thumbnail. I guess that's kind of what I was thinking about. Although your answer is totally fine. So Shield of Unity buff. I want to delete all these prints that we had here. There we go. And we got to undo what we did in the town because this shouldn't be needed anymore. Oh, you know what I didn't test? I didn't test what happens when you don't have this skill. So let's just remove the skill. I guess we could have done that right from the game too. Let's remove the skill and then make sure that the cleric can be targeted. And then we still haven't finished the cleric. That's what's sucky about this. There's this one. Casting Blessing of Haste also grants lifesteal. We don't have any way of doing that yet. So we have a new system we got to make for that too. What was I going to do? I was going to put the cleric and the rogue into battle. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that and that. And we're missing the second instance. Now we have it. All right, cool. So cleric should just always take damage. Not always, sorry. They should always be able to take damage. Yeah, perfect. Recently started at a new job, which involves a lot of programming C++. I'm an electrical engineer by background, so I've been interested in coding related in my free time. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. I think a lot of people, you might not be coding in the same language as me, just any general viewer. And if you're working in C++, then you're obviously not. I'm working in C# right now. But I think having someone who is being productive and who's working and talking through things, I think it can be motivating. And I think at the very least it can, well, I guess the motivation is the very least. And at best, it could also kind of teach you things about how to work through something. There's a pixie monster available, yeah, and we could turn them into a summon if we wanted to. I was thinking more like, and I know this sounds kind of silly, but Navi from Ocarina of Time, that sort of pixie, where they're just like a ball of light. I think that would be kind of cool. Whereas the pixies we got are, I'll just show them. Game, assets, monsters. Where's the pixie? There it is. Yeah, they're not quite a ball of light. I like how they look. They're cool. But they're more like the monster kind of pixie, I'd say. Could untargetable be more of a deterrent? You mean like a lower chance of being targeted? Because yeah, that could be done. Right now, the only player surfaced effect that has that is the cleric. So I don't think there's really a problem with just saying, you know what, the cleric is special. You just cannot be targeted if you have allies. But yeah, if we had this on a lot of different creatures. Oh, you know what we could do, although is this interesting? I was gonna say, what if there was a boss with untargetable summons? Is that interesting? I think that might be interesting. Let's write that down. Playing around with untargetable. So a boss with untargetable summons, a boss who is untargetable while they have summons, and that's pretty much it. I guess a boss that cannot be damaged whatsoever, and you just need to wait for like 1 minute before you win the fight automatically. But I think that's better framed as this one, a boss that takes 1 damage from all sources. Yeah, I could write it down, I guess. A boss who can't ever be targeted and just disappears after 1 minute. So it's a fight about survival. This is kind of risky. Okay, I want to finish this. I think I'm going to take a quick break. I know it's kind of weird because I've just been streaming for 2 hours and 45 minutes with no breaks. And now I want to take a break and then only work for like 20 more minutes. But yeah, I want to go stand up. I've been coughing a lot too. And then where do we leave off here? I coded Shield of Unity. We should also code. Maybe this is the last thing we do before taking a lunch break. Is code, where is it? Divine Reclamation. Let me just think about this really fast. Granting lifesteal. How do we do this? So we'd grant a buff. The buff would have lifesteal. We need to figure out the lifesteal at some point. We need to apply it. And show a little green number somewhere. Okay. Yeah, I think it'll take longer than 20 minutes. Well, at the very least, let's check in what we've done when we get back. Where I left off, check in what I've done. which isn't even the entire cleric. And sad face. All right, I will be back. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Remember, you can type join in Twitch chat and play. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Well, congratulations, Deller. That's your first win, first place win. Finally, you've done it. You get to be on top of that. Yeah, GG. All right, close the game. I said close the game. Okay, cool. Yeah, so checking what I've done. I modified a bunch of tooltips, which I really shouldn't have done right now. So let's see if we can just find those. And yeah, I guess it's pretty much everything that isn't one of the heal abilities. What just happened? I clicked. I should have clicked on taunt. What did just happen? Let me see if I did this correctly. Yeah. I don't know what I did. Okay, well, there were quite a lot of these that I changed, huh? Yep. Field of Unity, this buff. Component targetable. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is all the stuff that we did that is just changing the word enemy or target or ally. Yeah, these are just string changes. Okay, change the word target in tooltips. I didn't change all of them, but my own ability style guide says not to use target when we could use enemy or ally. All right, so now these changes should be different ones. This is me fixing a typo. So I guess let's check that in on its own. Fix typo. This is adding the 2 new skills. Yep, yep, yep. Looks good. Wait, yes, wait. We added Shield of Unity, which only gives you the, yeah. Okay, I tested that too. Okay, yep. All this is looking good so far. Yep, yep. 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 Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Good. Yep. And I don't like this. Yeah. So undo that. The rest of this is pretty good. Add to cleric abilities. The only reason I'm not adding the 3rd here is a scheduling reason. I should add it this afternoon. Whoops. Take care, Z-Wubs. Good seeing you. Okay, so what we can do is we can start to work on this new thing. I don't think we can get it done before lunchtime, but that doesn't mean we can't make some progress. Why do I have so many tabs open? Okay, yeah, it's 11:50. I would say in roughly like maybe 15 minutes, I want to go get some food. I'm not super hungry yet, but I just generally have this schedule of like 3 hours of streaming, then a lunch break, then 3 hours. So this is done. And the next thing we need is this Divine Reclamation. So casting a Blessing of Haste grants lifesteal. We don't have a lifesteal buff. And we don't have an accumulator for it either. But it should be easy enough to go do that stuff. So let's start. Divine Reclamation equals 75. And this is just going to modify, so we can put this in like words of wisdom. Yeah, Divine Reclamation. And then put this here. What is the icon for this? I have closed that out. It is defibrillate. Defib. Okay, cool. And then what's the description? Casting Blessing of Haste also grants lifesteal. Okay, how much lifesteal should this grant? Public cons float lifesteal bonus. Is 10% enough? Well, what's the uptime on this buff? Blessing of Haste. It's every 7 seconds it gets cast, so about 14% of the time, but it can be increased to 28% of the time. So let's just average those two things out. Roughly a fifth of the time you're going to have this buff. It's going to be for all your party members. So what's a good amount of healing to give them for that time? Well, if you have a DPS class like a rogue, 1/5 of the time means like once per second, which is quite a lot. Now let's start with 15% and see how it goes. Okay, so casting Blessing of Haste also grants X% lifesteal for Y seconds. Oh yeah, we need a duration here too. Public const float duration. Maybe. Ooh, wow, I didn't think about this. It's got to be probably at least like let's say 3 seconds, and let's lower this down to 10%. This could be very powerful. Yeah, this could be very powerful. I don't know yet though. Okay, so casting Blessing of Haste also grants plus life steal bonus, percent life steal for duration seconds. Yeah. All right. Now we got to go make a life steal buff. Life steal buff. Oh, you know what we could do? No, never mind. I was going to say what we could do is make it grant you a static amount of life on every hit, but I think that's worse for a bunch of reasons. For one, you'd have to balance that amount of life. So it'd have to be something like for each hit, grant like level life or grant this much health. But then for someone who's slow to attack, if you're level 10 and you get 10 health, you'd be like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. And if the rogue who's really fast to attack, like every 0.2 seconds is getting 10 health, that's probably crazy. Yeah, I think a percent is probably good. All right, so life steal buff. This is going to be pretty much just like power buff. Actually, no. It's going to be more like any percent-based one. I guess mitigation buff. Yeah, this one. This is damage mitigation percent. I guess let's call this life steal percent buff as well. Okay, yeah. And then save this as life steal percent buff. And go rename these things life steal percent buff. It's got everything there already, and we just need to go change this to I has life steal increase value. A game where combat is more involved. That's a cool mechanic. The life per hit thing. Get life steal value. Okay, so now this goes here. This goes here. This returns percent increase, and everything else should be good. So now all we need to do is compute your total life steal. That is pretty much just like how damage mitigation works, except for there is no life steal from Fortitude. Some classes might have some inherent life steal. It would be kind of cool to have like a vampire class that just has 10% life steal always. Kind of like that idea. Get life steal percent. All right, so we don't have this. We don't need this. We get anything that has a life steal value and get that value. Okay. Guess adding some synergy between classes, yeah. I don't want there to be explicit synergies between classes. But this is an implicit synergy, which is good. To have this is I always associate them with assassins, which I guess pretty often have life steal. I guess the only thing that doesn't make sense is like, how are you stealing life as a rogue? As a vampire, it might make sense. But as just a rogue, I don't think it makes sense. I think it would involve some magic. I don't typically associate rogues with magic, I guess. I know we don't really need a reason for it, especially because the cleric is granting it, although magic is the reason for that. Okay, so the only other part we need to do now is in the battle system, we need to allow for whenever you deal damage, if you dealt, the amount is greater than 0. Yeah, this should be here. Gotta change the order of this. Vampiric dagger weapon. Yeah, so it's like magic on the weapon. Yeah, if you rename it to Spellblade, then I think it's okay. Anyway, by the way, I think the rogue is in a really good position right now. I don't think there's any problem with the rogue. They've got some damage mitigation. They've got a lot of damage output. Not true, so of course you don't need a reason. You just need to want to. Yeah, I generally think so. I think that mechanics, storylines, etc., all hit a little bit better when there is an in-world reason for it. So let's say all of your characters just like teleported wherever they want. Then you'd have to explain somehow like why is it happening? Why are they not teleporting away from enemies to dodge them or something like that? I don't know. It's something else that can kind of increase your immersion. I guess that's the best way to put it. All right, so this is on damage dealt. We could have this be an effect, but I think we'd have to give everyone the life steal effect in that case, and I think it's better. I guess this technically does give them life steal, right? Maybe that's a better idea then. We don't have a total life steal. Deal damage. Each one would do this, but then I wouldn't sum them up. So if you had 5 buffs for life steal, I guess you'd expect to see the health number once. Yeah. Yeah. So we gotta do something here. So we gotta say float life steal amount equals stat computations. I guess we could do this too. I guess just check if this is a number greater than 0. If life steal amount is greater than 0, heal damage. Okay, so source target. So it'd be target target. No, it'd be source, and then a new damage info. And we got to pass in the amount. Then the target type. This is a heal, so I guess just single target. Damage type. What are damage types? I guess direct heal. Oh, won't this mean that the cleric is going to do extra damage, which will cause an infinite loop? It might. We might need to do something about that. Yeah, I got to write that down. Prevent infinite loop with cleric plus life steal plus resonant healing. All right, what else do we have as part of damage info? Element. I guess element's always physical for right now. And any other things in here? Extra mischance. No, we don't. Okay, so the problem is I don't remember how resonant healing works, but I think this is going to cause an infinite loop. How does this work right now? This is on healing dealt. And what calls on healing dealt? Presumably heal, right? Yes. Well, yep. We got ourselves an infinite loop. So I guess we need to check the damage info to see what the type of damage is, and maybe lifesteal doesn't count. Alternatively, we allow this to work, but just don't make it infinite. So we could say resonant healing. Let's say it does 40% healing as damage, and lifesteal is, let's say, 10%. So if you do 10 damage, then you're going to do 10 healing is going to turn into 4 damage, which is then going to give you 0.4 life, which is then going to turn into 0.016 damage. And at that point, we just say, you know what, that's too small. The loop ends there. I don't like that, though, because I don't think this is expected. I think lifesteal probably just shouldn't trigger resonant healing. What's it phrased as right now? Healing an ally causes that much healing to be dealt as damage to a random enemy. This isn't even true. Well, it's not even an ally. Overhealing. Retired Android, welcome back. Happy 8 months. How you doing, Android? I feel like I'm talking to my phone operating system right now. Okay, yeah, this just says healing. We could reframe it to just be healing through heal and regenerate, and I think it would be fine. And that's probably actually the way we should do this. Yeah, resonant healing should only work when you cast heal or Regenerate. But then we need to know that in something here, and nothing knows that. Let's just make a lifesteal damage type. Yeah. And then in this buff, let's just say if you were dealing that to just return, or if damage info dot damage type is equal to lifesteal. Wasn't there like an is direct damage somewhere? Damage info dot is. Yeah, where do these come from? An extension? No. Oh, they're just at the bottom of the file. Yeah, right. All right, so let's put is lifesteal. Lifesteal. And then change that is lifesteal. This is an or, not an and. Okay, so if you're stealing life, don't cause an infinite loop. The check for lifesteal is prevent infinite recursion. Wow, good job, AI. I think very generic loop prevention would be a good idea based on recursion depth, because this might happen a lot in the future. I don't think it will if our skills are scoped correctly, because every class has 3 skills, and each skill can just refer to any skill it deals with, I guess. So like imagine if you had something like powerful attacks. The way you might frame this is like deal 20% more damage from all sources. But actually, there are only 3 skills, so we could just say like, you know, skill B and skill C deal 20% more damage. And now we don't have any like crazy interrelations that could exist. The only way I could see this maybe changing, you could technically have a weapon enchant that says something like grant a new skill, swift attack or something like that. But we don't have that yet. And also, most cases, this would just be handled automatically anyway by taking more power. But yeah. I think a lot of fighting games have to deal with that sort of thing to prevent players from getting really cheap with their attacks. All right, so I'm missing something. I think it's just manifesting the skill. Where does the skill go? Presumably in the 3rd tier, because I don't see anything else there. Yeah. 3rd tier it is. Divine Reclamation. And that's it. I think that took like 14 minutes. So maybe this actually is working. Let's go try it out. So how does this work? Divine Reclamation. We get a 10% lifesteal buff on all party members for 3 seconds after casting Blessing of Heal. Oh no, this is not working yet because I never actually went and used the ability. Healing received bonus. What is this? Yeah. Float lifesteal bonus equals. All right, this is silly. We should get the abilities component. And then call this in each place that we had done this. So now the lifesteal bonus is going to be equal to get level of Divine Reclamation times the lifesteal bonus. This is not working for some reason. There we go. Yep. And then in here, if there's a lifesteal bonus, it should just know how to do the rest. Yeah, it's just not called lifesteal buff. It's lifesteal percent buff, I think. Good, and good. Yeah, cool. That's everything. Hey, Mile. Well, this week I came with an idea for a game I want to try. Nice. Yeah. If you don't mind sharing, what's the high level of the idea? And you certainly don't have to. Thinking buffs from one adventurer to another who might become hard to track with more adventurers and skills added. Yeah, it's definitely fair to say that. And I think it all depends on what are the buffs and what are the reasonable limits. I think one of the things that's kind of cool about this game is that if you get to the point where there's sort of an overpowered combination, it's not really so bad. It could just be a fun thing that you just exploit as a player. Pretty well under control right now with 3 skills. Yeah, and there is actually, the cleric does have something that lets you make other characters faster. And it could hit certain breakpoints where you just keep getting faster and faster and faster. So we might need an effective limit on haste for some classes. And I bet the player base will find these eventually too. Okay, so we're just going to click grant most things. We're going to go into the cleric skill, and we got this now. Casting Blessing of Haste also grants plus 10% life steal. That's a lot of percent. Yeah, I accidentally put an extra percent sign there. Okay, so that fixes the tooltip, but now let's go get the skill. Let's make it last for longer. And let's put a point into this. Now let's join a battle with 3 different characters. And we should see lifesteal. Actually, let's just do the cleric and the rogue. I think that'll be pretty obvious. Okay, so once you see haste above... Why? Oh, darn it. I meant to remove summon zombie. Something weird happened. Like a bunch of zeros just popped up there, right? Yeah, what is that? I forgot to use... Oh my god, how is that not an infinite loop? I forgot to apply the lifesteal damage source. I guess it does already do that thing where it decreases down to 0. That's kind of interesting. But yeah, that was a mistake. Where is lifesteal done? Here. Damage type equals lifesteal. Wow, cool. "2D retro games, and they're not exploring caves, collecting stuff, develop skills to be able to travel further into the caves." That does sound cool. It reminds me of a game by David Brevik. I don't remember what it's called, though. It Lurks Below. Yeah, reminds me of It Lurks Below. I don't know if you've seen this game. It looks kind of like Terraria. Actually, yeah, it looks a lot like Terraria. But I think it was more focused on combat and itemization than it was about, I guess, just general exploration of Terraria. Yeah, I'll link it in chat. Finding those multiplicative stacking effects is cool. Coach is just not infinite loop. Yeah, it is hard to cover, and it's another thing that's kind of tough is you want players to have some exploration space without just sort of capping them immediately. So let's say you had something like, okay, there's damage mitigation in the game, and you're like, oh, there's a 50% limit for it though. It's like, well, you might be able to hit this quickly enough where there's no real exploration beyond that. So it might be fun to frame it as like, okay, a 50% soft limit, and then every percent thereafter is only like 10% effective. So now you need an extra plus 50% turns into plus 5%. And it's like, oh, well, now you push it to 55%. Does that make you overpowered? Well, maybe. Maybe another 50% pushes you to 60 and it makes you even better and you can beat instances you couldn't beat before. I don't know. All right, so we got to go rebuild the cleric, putting 5 points in that and then a point into that. And then we're going to start them with a rogue in, let's just go there. All right, so once they get haste, they should start stealing life for, I guess, like 1.2 on average here. It's not a lot of healing. Yeah, it's not a lot of healing. It is for the whole party, though. So I guess technically what you're doing is if you have 3 other party members... Oh, but actually yourself, too. And does lifesteal work for the cleric? I want to pay attention to it. I think so, yeah. I gave it 2 life, yeah. So if you have 4 party members, you're giving your party a total of 40% lifesteal. And zombies get it as well. So I guess you could give it to 9 party members. That would be probably very powerful. Man, I like the possibilities that exist in the game. But I do feel like this is a little weak right now. Then again, I haven't put points in the rogue. If we gave the rogue this and this. So now they have a chance to crit and they attack twice as fast. And that means that their life steal is going to be absurd. Yeah, so now they're going to actually start to heal some. Yeah, a bunch of 1s, a 4 popped out. It's just constantly healing. Oh, man. It's not really moving the needle a lot, even despite that, which makes me think it's not that good. And this is with Blessing of Haste buffed already. I have a feeling that the cleric is going to be overpowered even after all the changes that we have. Okay. Yeah, let's buff it a little bit. What's this called? Reclamation. Let's make it. Let's see what 20% feels like. How do we do that? And put them in a party and just see how crazy we've made the game. I want to put them in with uh the rogue fully upgraded. I want this to last as long as possible, and then that. Anything else I want in here? Oh, that could probably be pretty good. Oh man. Okay. Then the the mage to give you all of your abilities. And what's the last one I want to do this for? I guess the witch doctor. Now let's just randomly click some skills here. I don't care. All right, and then start a battle in the waterways with cleric, witch doctor, mage, and rogue. All right, so everybody gets haste. Everybody also gets life leech. Oh my god, the rogue's going nuts. Oh, this is probably too powerful. Yeah, like none of the main party's even really taking damage. Just stupidly powerful. I don't know. I'm gonna I'm gonna leave this to people to just test out in checkpoint 4. So that was 209 DPS. What if we remove the rogue from the party? It is 147 DPS now. And what if we just put the cleric in a party on their own? Well, they have summon zombie, which is kind of cheating. Yeah, it's definitely cheating. Oh, they actually managed to die. I didn't expect that. All right, I don't know. I don't know what this should be set to. Let's just pick the middle, 15%. Maybe even lowering the duration could help a little bit. Alternatively, you know, would be probably maybe a tiny bit better is what we did with that other ability, which is this affects the next hit you do will have life steal. So it's just one hit, and maybe we say it is like 50% life steal. I think that could be good, and I think we should consider that. So this is done. Consider changing divine reclamation to be 50% life steal, but only for the next single attack. This may be difficult because the next attack would be an ability that gets used. And we would have to know the damage from that. I don't know. I'm gonna probably just leave it as is for now. Yeah. All right, let's go check this in. Why did so much change here? What did I do? Okay, this makes sense that it changed. Oh, I didn't test. I didn't test not having the buff, did I? Hungry but don't want to cook. Honey mayo rice. Honey mayo rice. You'd have to cook that though. It's not a thing that exists. Okay, so we're gonna put these characters into battle together and speed this up. And now the rogue should not ever steal life. Yeah, I don't think they are. No, they're not. Cool. Just want to make sure that was working. Looks good. Yeah, this is just changing a tooltip. I guess we can check that in on its own. Change tooltip slightly. We removed summon zombie. That should have never been there. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Yeah, cool. Add divine reclamation. I had also accidentally checked in the cleric with summon zombie. I removed that. Yeah. Hey, it worked. You did it. All right. So all we've done so far, well, we coded 2 adventurers. I guess that means we could get, oh, we have 3 more. Never mind. I was gonna say, I guess that means we could get done in the afternoon, but we probably can't. Added skills for the warrior and cleric. So what are the new skills? Maybe they're easier than the other ones have been. This is take an extra damage, extra amount of damage from allies. Yeah, this should be fine. What else do we have? You gain this much per second. That should be fine. Yeah, that's all pretty much that's been done before. What about this stuff? When an enemy dies, summon a zombie. I'm just trying to think about the balance of this. Is this too powerful? Probably should lower the cooldown or raise the cooldown on summon zombie by a little bit more than what it currently is. When a zombie dies, damage all enemies. When the witch doctor has no zombies. Oh, we don't have a crown graphic. I'm gonna write that down. Zombie with a crown. Maybe we just get the crown sprite and add it on top of the zombie. So the frame rate would have to match. All right, what about for the archer? We had to change 2 abilities as well. Change this. I mean, it's not that hard to do, I guess. What are the new abilities? Grant X% power. Oh, this is super cool. This is super, super cool. This should be fine. This should be fine. Yeah, okay. We could maybe do this in the afternoon. I think it's going to be tough. I think we'll have to stream for a little longer than normal. But I'm guessing no one in chat's going to complain. And then that would be it. That would be 2 weeks in a row. We've done 2 pretty big things. We did the Enchanter last week, and we'll have done all the skill revamps this week. Or most of them. I guess we still have a couple more things to do. But then I think we got to spend Monday just cleaning up this list. Like covering some of this. Where is the... Yeah, this is Saturday. I got a bunch of stuff to do. Monday is going to be tenets. I think mentoring. Monday, no, it's not mentoring next week. Oh, interesting. All right, so tenets, and then like clean up some of the stuff from skill trees. I think there are dangling tasks. Well, progress has been fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, I can't stand extra streaming. All right, I think I'm going to leave you all now and go get my lunch. It is 12:22. And I'll be back in about an hour. We'll stream for probably another like 3.5 hours. So we can try to get done with all this stuff. If I can, I'm not going to stress about it. But yeah, it's been a good day so far. Hope you've all been enjoying, and I hope to see you later after lunch. Take care. See you then.